the Almighty Pokémon Master. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 201, Young Kyrus's performance. Snake and Dragonite separated again, and both were not in a very good condition. Snake had burns all over its body, and Dragonite was not in a very good condition either. Zhang Xingyun could see that Snake's strength would not be at a disadvantage against some ordinary late-stage Pokémon. It was great that Dragonite could fight to this extent, as it was only in the early stage of ordinary, and it was still in the juvenile stage. Seeing Dragonite's condition, Snake also came to its senses. It was not easy for it to eat this ordinary early stage Pokémon. After fighting for a while, it still couldn't take it down. It didn't want to fight anymore. As an old hand in the wild, it had its own set of survival rules. His baby Snake didn't want to fight anymore and wanted to carry the remains of Meerkat away, but Dragonite wouldn't let it. It had to defeat Snake. Snake's general idea was that there were several Pokémon around secretly watching, and it would not benefit anyone if it continued to fight. Dragonite didn't buy it. It had a trainer and didn't have any concerns in this regard. Looking at this stubborn baby dragon, the Rice Spoon Snake felt uncomfortable. If it wanted to fight, it would not be able to take it down in a short time, and if it did, it would be seriously injured. The elves who were secretly watching would not let it go. After all, its skin and flesh were also good food for them. If it didn't fight, it knew that this matter was not over by looking at the baby dragon's relentless attitude. The Rice Spoon Snake turned around and wanted to take the body of the mongoose away, but the baby dragon's dragon breath sprayed over. After dodging, the baby dragon's dragon breath directly hit the body of the mongoose and rushed to the bushes in the distance. The Rice Spoon Snake's eyes were full of fire. It had already given in, and the baby dragon was still like this, so it would not be polite. The two elves fought again. Without Zhang Xingyun's command, the baby dragon did not do well in some aspects. Bang! After a while of movement, the baby dragon found an opportunity and bit the Rice Spoon Snake with its sharp teeth, which were flame teeth. Snake screamed in pain, but couldn't let go of baby dragon. It used its tail to hit baby dragon, but baby dragon held on tightly and refused to let go. The 7-inch point is also an important position for snake-type Pokémon like Snake. Snake struggled desperately, but baby dragon kept biting. After struggling for a while, Snake's struggle became much weaker. When baby dragon was about to let go, Zhang Xingyun's words rang in his ears. "Baby dragon, it's tricking you." Snake still has a breath. Baby dragon increased the intensity of its bite and refused to let go. Snake seemed to know that baby dragon understood it and said to spare its life, but baby dragon didn't let go in the end. When it was almost time, it stuck to Snake's face and used Dragon's Fury to end the battle. Normal early baby dragon vs normal mid-stage Snake. After a hard battle, it was baby dragon that won. Squeak cut. After the battle subsided, several elves walked out of the bushes nearby, staring at baby dragon with eager eyes. Thinking of the yellow bird, it depends on whether you have the ability. Go ahead. Yaoji Kami Heibuhua. With the addition of the 4 elves of Kyrus, those yellow birds lay on the ground and became Zhang Xingyun's harvest. Zhang Xingyun took out the medicine and treated baby dragon. Huoyidi also used the healing skill, which greatly improved the condition of baby dragon. How is it? Your performance is still very good, but if you are alone, don't do this. Remember to protect yourself. In the battle just now, you can use the spark skill, which is more lethal, instead of. Baby dragon also accepted Zhang Xingyun's comments on baby dragon's performance in the battle and said that he would remember it next time. Okay, next time, Kyrus will go. Let's go. He left the scene, looked at the map in his hand, and walked in one direction. The map in his hand was specially purchased by Zhang Xingyun. The distribution of the elves here can be clearly seen, and to a certain extent, it can avoid encountering high-level elves. This map also records a general idea, but this kind of map is very popular, and some trainers who are not very strong are very keen to buy this. When Zhang Xingyun passed by, there was a rustling sound from a corner of the road. It was a sandshrew. Seeing Zhang Xingyun's formation, it did not attack and retreated on its own. Seeing the Sandshrew leaving on its own, Zhang Xingyun did not stop it. After walking for a while, there were also several elves on the road who peeked at him, but none of them attacked. Instead, they took a look and left on their own. Zhang Xingyun was not interested in keeping them because they were all elves at the level of ordinary early or ordinary middle stage, and they were not worth fighting against for young Kyrus. Of course, this was also because they did not provoke him. If they attacked, Zhang Xingyun would not be polite. Now, only ordinary late-stage elves are worth fighting against for young Kyrus. Along the way, Zhang Xingyun was looking for a suitable opponent. Here it comes. Young Kyrus, get ready. Zhang Xingyun's ability detected an ordinary late-stage dragon-headed mole, which was rushing towards them, and reminded young Kyrus. Young Kyrus also responded that he was ready. Young Kyrus uses earthquake. Young Kyrus stamped his feet, and an invisible energy spread out from the ground, targeting the dragon-headed mole. Bang! The attacked dragon-headed mole drilled out of the ground, and landed on the ground. Logi the dragon-headed mole raised its sharp claws, and roared at young Kyrus fiercely. Looking at Zhang Xingyun's formation, he was not afraid at all. Young Kyrus, do you want to play freely, or do you need my command? Young Kyrus, okay, then you should be careful. Young Kyrus saw that the baby dragon was free to play, so he also chose to play freely. Zhang Xingyun naturally agreed to this. The elves must have a certain ability to fight themselves, and they also need to be trained in this aspect. Sand flew around the body of young Kyrus, and a sandstorm started, wrapping up young Kyrus. Dust flew around him for more than 10 meters. The dragon-headed mole, covered by the flying sand, didn't know where young Kyrus was for a moment, so he used his sense to drill in a certain direction. There was a bang, which was the sound of the dragon-headed mole hitting the ground. Seeing that it couldn't attack young Kyrus, the dragon-headed mole wanted to drill into the ground, but found that the ground was difficult to drill into and had great resistance. The flying sand didn't cause much damage to it, but it affected its vision, which was also very serious. Chapter 202, Earth Rock Marble Powder. With a whoosh, a fist made of sand hit the dragon head mole. After the attack, the sand scattered on the dragon head mole, and then spun around, trapping the dragon head mole inside. Rogi the dragon head mole in the sand screamed in panic, and after using all its strength, and attacking several times in a row, it finally broke out. As soon as it came out, a large stone appeared in the dragon head mole's eyes. The dragon head mole only had time to block it with its claws, and then it fell to the ground with the stone. Young Kyrus then used mud throwing to suppress the dragon head that had just appeared. Roka the dragon head mole roared angrily. It was enough. Young Kyrus's sandstorm blocked its vision, and then it continued to attack. If it continued, it might lose the battle without even touching young Kyrus's skin. The dragon head mole might not have encountered such a situation, and was trapped in the sandstorm for a while. If it was Zhang Xingyun, he would be able to escape in no time. Using supernatural perception and teleportation to carry out space strikes is definitely possible. In other words, a sandstorm of young Kyrus's level may not be very effective against a psychic Pokémon that can teleport and has super strong perception energy. Roka the dragon head digger was hit by young Kyrus's invisible rock again when trying to break out. But after several attempts, the dragon head digger seemed to know the general way to break out. At this time, the dragon head digger used a low altitude drill to drill in one direction. With its hard shell and high speed rotation, it was able to drill through. Young Kyrus's ability to control sand is naturally very strong, but it was also expected by young Kyrus that he could break out by being scattered around and being drilled in the same direction by ordinary late stage dragon head diggers. After the dragon head digger broke out, it was scared. It was attacked several times in the sand and now it has several wounds on its body. Now the dragon head digger only wants to escape and has no idea of counterattack at the beginning. The dragon head mole curled up into a ball, closed its head and hands, and tried to burrow into the ground to escape, but young Kyrus jumped out of the ground. While jumping up, he also condensed a wave of evil. It hit the dragon head mole in the face. Roka the dragon head mole wailed and flew backwards, and young Kyrus also landed steadily with the help of the air wave. Zhang Xingyun saw young Kyrus's operation and shook his head. His elves also like to output close to the opponent's face. There are obviously many long-range skills that can be used, but they just like to output close to the face. Like young Kyrus's wave, young Kyrus can also dig a hole to get close to the dragon head mole, and then create a sandstorm to trap the dragon head mole, and then attack it to wear down the dragon head mole's physical strength. Rock attacks are a bit less harmful to the dragon head mole, but they are still harmful, right? And young Kyrus also has other skills. If you play it safe, you will trap the dragon head mole and attack it in the sandstorm. Even if the dragon head mole breaks through, it doesn't matter. Every time the dragon head mole wants to break out, it takes a lot of effort. Young Kyrus can easily create another sandstorm to trap it. In this way, the dragon head mole can be captured at the lowest cost. However, young Kyrus did not do so, but chose other methods. Young Kyrus stomped his feet on the ground, and several lines appeared on the ground, heading towards the dragon head mole that had just stood up. The dragon head mole also saw it, and tried to escape, but there was a fist-like sand fist on its head, which hit it hard. The dragon head mole was pressed to the ground. This sand fist was very solid, and the dragon head mole could not break free for a while, which shows that young Kyrus's ability to control sand is very strong. Roka the dragon head mole was hit directly by young Kyrus' earthquake, and it was already seriously injured and lay aside. Then it lost its ability to fight after being hit by young Kyrus's moves. Young Kyrus gestured with his little claws and cheered in the direction of Zhang Xingyun. Well done, young Kyrus. Zhang Xingyun teleported to young Kyrus' side and encouraged him. Young Kyrus' performance was much better than that of Baby Dragon. Young Kyrus was not injured at all and had a firm grip on the dragon head hamster from the beginning. Baby Dragon, you should learn from young Kyrus. Baby Dragon nodded. It had watched young Kyrus's battle performance just now and naturally knew how powerful young Kyrus was. Well, how come there is earth rock marble powder on the dragon head hamster's body? Zhang Xingyun wiped the surface of the dragon head hamster's body and found powder containing energy on his hands. It was very similar to the earth rock marble mentioned in the book. Earth rock marble is the same as the star steel, or excavated in the cloud star forest. It is an ore containing energy and contains more nutrients than star steel ore. It is also more expensive. Thinking of this, Zhang Xingyun had an idea in his mind. By analogy, if the dragon-headed mole passes by or lives near the ground rock and marble, as long as the plan is reasonable, this is very promising. Young Kyrus, if this can be done, you have a ore for the recent period of time. Young G, have you seen these powders on its body? Feel it. Young G, yes. Does it contain a kind of energy? It's just relatively weak. You should be able to feel it. For you, it may be more delicious than star steel. Young G, how to do it? If it goes well, it will come from this dragon-headed mole. I will leave mark on it later and follow it. If it has, then it will be profitable. If not, it will not be a loss to beat it again. Young G, let me operate it. You go back to the Pokeball first. Young G, Zhang Xingyun put all the Pokémons back into the Pokeball, attached a super energy mark to the dragon-headed mole, took out the spray, sprayed it, and then took out the breath-suppressing prop, and hid it aside. He also drove away the elves that were watching from all around. Roka? After a long while, the dragon-headed mole woke up and felt pain all over his body. Then he stood up with a start, looking around, and was alert. He remembered that he was defeated by a green elf, and that green elf had a very strong ability to control sand. With his own strength in the late ordinary stage, he couldn't beat an ordinary middle stage elf. He was still in the same place, and that elf didn't do anything to him. The dragon-headed mole shook his head. Now was not the time to think about this. He had to leave here quickly. Although he didn't know why he was fine, if that elf came back, he wouldn't be able to escape. He closed his head and claws, drilled into the ground, and headed in one direction. Behind the dragon-headed mole, there was also Zhang Xingyun, but the dragon-headed mole didn't notice it. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 203, Earth Rock Marble Veins. Zhang Xingyun followed the dragon-headed mole all the way. The damp cave was still filled with the smell of soil, and Zhang Xingyun, who was behind, moved one section after another in an instant, following slowly. Rustling, the dragon-headed mole was still a little slow in digging the hole, probably because of the injury, which made it easier for Zhang Xingyun to lag behind. There should be an elf passing by nearby, and the cave just dug was shaking a little, and the dragon-headed mole in front huddled up and stopped moving forward. After the vibration passed for a while, the dragon-headed mole continued to dig. Following until now, Zhang Xingyun found several gravel-like stones in the cave, opened up by the dragon-headed mole. The stones contained some energy, which was very similar to the powder on the dragon-headed mole. That means that it is closer to the mineral vein of the ground rock marble. Soon, the dragon-headed mole appeared in a cave with a large space, which should be their habitat, where its tribe lives. Zhang Xingyun sensed it slightly, and found that there were more than 30 screw moles and more than 10 dragon-headed moles here. There are 3 elite dragon-headed gophers, one of which is at the mid-elite level. On the other side, there is a strong energy that attracts Zhang Xingyun's attention. When he spreads his spirit power over there, he finds a mineral vein, which is the mineral vein of ground rock and cloudstone. These minerals are embedded in the soil. Ground rock and cloudstone is a milky white mineral with cloud-like lines on it, hence the name. The energy contained in it is of great benefit to ground type and rock type elves, and it also has the effect of changing a little bit of qualifications. It is a good treasure in the wild. The dragon-headed gophers should have the elite strength of the dragon-headed gophers with the help of this ore. Zhang Xingyun guessed that this mineral vein should have been larger than it is now, but it was used a lot by the dragon-headed gophers or other elves, which can be seen from the traces at the scene. But now these are not bad. To absorb the earth rock cloudstone, you don't have to eat it like young jealous. You can also absorb the overflowing energy. Of course, if you swallow the whole, or like young jealous, you will definitely absorb it to the maximum extent. This earth rock cloudstone is also self-created. There is no such ore in Pokémon. I'll make it clear first. After seeing the earth rock cloudstone, Zhang Xingyun was planning how to get these ores away. The inventory of this vein that was detected by the ability is much larger than the star steel ore. It can be regarded as a larger small vein. If you go to mine by yourself, you will definitely attract the attacks of the dragon-headed moles. This is also their territory. This ground rock cloudstone is also a treasure of their dragon-headed mole clan, and they will definitely not give it up. In the battle, Zhang Xingyun has no advantage at all. In this small space, there is little room to play. There is a big limit on the speed of the giant claw mantis, and the big Nidoking is also the same. Not to mention the Pidgeot and the dragon-headed moles have a big advantage in fighting in this environment. With 3 elite dragon-headed moles, Zhang Xingyun does not intend to trouble them. It is not cost-effective to fight. If this is outside, even if there is one more elite, Zhang Xingyun is not afraid. Zhang Xingyun chose to mine in a sneaky way, and did not choose to fight. This is not that Zhang Xingyun is timid, but there is no need. It is really not worth it. As long as these ores are enough, the dragon-headed moles don't need to pay attention. After all, this kind of ore is still difficult to buy with money. You have to exchange it with resources. What you can buy with money is not of very high quality. This may be because Zhang Xingyun has no way to buy it and can only buy it in some stores and private shops. The higher the level of resources, the less useful money is. Perhaps when you reach a certain status, money is just a number. Zhang Xingyun moved instantly and appeared on the path close to the mineral vein and approached step by step. The dragon-head mole will also absorb this mineral vein, so several passages have been opened near this mineral vein, which is convenient for Zhang Xingyun. After a few instant movements, Zhang Xingyun appeared behind this mineral vein. He planned to start mining in the direction of the dragon-head mole from the back, so that to a certain extent, he could avoid being discovered by the dragon-head mole earlier. Zhang Xingyun made a mysterious gesture with his hand, and ripples appeared in the space. Then the energy released by Zhang Xingyun condensed into a 4x4x4 energy space, covering Zhang Xingyun and the mineral vein. This is the skill that Zhang Xingyun exchanged for a high-level cultivation secret book in the system, after he comprehended the space magic. The secret book states that when this space technique is cultivated to perfection, it will have many magical uses. At the current level of Zhang Xingyun's cultivation, he can only maintain the shrouded area, which is isolated from the outside world, and no sound or anything can penetrate. This space technique consumes a lot of energy and supernatural powers, and must be maintained by Zhang Xingyun. Youngkerus, come out, and mine lightly. He released a few small Youngkerus and others, and let them mine, and put them into the space backpack. Zhang Xingyun maintained the space technique on the side. Youngkerus saw this piece of ore vein and shouted happily. He picked up a few pieces, and started to chew them. After chewing them, he looked satisfied. I guess this ground rock marble is very suitable for his appetite. Okay, Youngkerus, dig first, these are all yours. Youngkerus, after eating a few pieces to satisfy his craving, Youngkerus started to mine. With Zhang Xingyun's space technique, the dragon-headed moles on the other side could not find them. Young Berry Kami among the several Pokémons mining, Youngkerus is the most hard-working and happy. Although Youngkerus is small, its mining efficiency is not low. Zhang Xingyun was also very happy to see the pieces of rock marble, or of different sizes, put into the space backpack. Ping pong. After mining for a while, Zhang Xingyun called a halt, sat cross-legged on the ground, and began to regulate his breath. This problem of superpowers must not be used up. Zhang Xingyun is an experienced trainer. How could he not know this? When the superpowers are consumed by more than 60% or 70%, you have to stop regulating your breath and wait until 80% or 90% are restored before taking action. This is also a very safe approach. Zhang Xingyun drank a bottle of blow liquid into his stomach, and the recovery speed was faster. This bottle of blow liquid is a spiritual liquid developed internally by the Superpower Association. It has a certain effect on the recovery of energy users. As a member of the association, Zhang Xingyun naturally has his share. The effect of this spiritual liquid is still good. Using it when needed can save a lot of time. Chapter 204, Mining the Mineral Veins. Zhang Xingyun had almost recovered, so he opened up the space again, covering the surroundings, allowing the Youngkerus to continue mining. While Zhang Xingyun was mining silently, the Dragonhead Digger and his group were attacked by the Onyx tribe. The Dragonhead Digger tribe lives underground, and when making habitats, it seems that they occasionally compete with Onyx or Steelix for territory. Now, led by a Onyx, several Onyx are attacking the Dragonhead Digger and his group. In the wild, Onyx does not need to evolve into Steelix through the metal membrane. When Onyx reaches the opportunity to evolve, it will go deep underground and use the compression of the earth to exercise all parts of its body. When it reaches a certain level, it will evolve into Steelix. Compared with the metal membrane evolution used by trainers, this method is time-consuming and laborious, and the risk is not small. But this is also the way for Onyx in the wild to evolve into Steelix. Just like the forked bird needs intimacy to evolve, there are forked birds in the wild, so there are still some other ways to evolve. In the anime, Ash's cold turtle also fought a wild Steelix, I remember, so I think there are still Steelixes in the wild. Roka the strongest Diglett negotiated with Steelix, and Steelix said that it must have the territory here, and asked Diglett and the others to withdraw quickly, otherwise it would not be polite. The purpose of Steelix and the others is definitely not the cave opened by Diglett, but the geolithic marble, which is also a rare treasure for them. Roka or Diglett negotiated again, but Steelix still refused, and the situation became tense. Diglett is in the middle elite stage, and Steelix is in the late elite stage. Fighting in this environment, and both being ground type and steel type Pokémon, Diglett's chance of winning is a little small. Roka, the tone of the Dragonhead Digger softened, and he turned around and walked a few steps towards the tribe. Seeing this, the Onyx cheered. Their leader suppressed the Dragonhead Digger with his strength, forcing it to retreat on its own, and they took this place without bloodshed, which made them cheer. The elves are also wise, and sometimes they will negotiate. It is obvious that the Dragonhead Digger's strength is a little weaker, and they are not at an advantage in negotiations. The Dragonhead Digger, who was walking back, made a few gestures to the tribe. After getting the response from the tribe, the Dragonhead Digger's eyes suddenly became fierce, and he turned around and threw a true key bomb. The cheering Onyx were accidentally attacked by a true key bomb. An ordinary late stage Onyx in front of Steelix fell down directly and lost its ability to fight. Raw Steelix roared and led the Onyx to counterattack. Originally, it thought it could use its strength to make the Dragon Head Digger retreat, but it didn't expect to be tricked by the Dragon Head Digger. If it weren't for the tribe members blocking the attack in front of it, it would have been slightly injured. In the game, fighting skills have twice the damage effect on Steelix, and the real damage must be considerable. Roka the Dragon Digger was not to be outdone, leading the tribe to rush forward, and the Dragon Digger and Onyx started fighting in this small environment. The resources needed by the Pokémon in the wild are all obtained through competition. They don't have trainers to provide resources, nor do they have trainers to teach them how to train. They all rely on their own comprehension abilities. Those who have tribes have elders in the tribe to teach them. Roka the Dragon Digger who faced Onyx was a mid-elite Dragon Digger. The sharp stone attack was launched and was broken by the Dragon Digger's low altitude drill. It pounced on Steelix at an extremely fast speed. Ding! The Dragon Digger's low altitude drill skill drilled into Steelix's iron tail, making a metallic sound and emitting many sparks. Raw Steelix and the Dragon Rat fought for a while, then swung hard and repelled the Dragon Rat. Steelix was not relaxed either and retreated a distance. A dark green dragon type condensed out of Steelix's mouth and fired with power. On the other side, the Dragon Rat had just landed and condensed a true energy bullet and shot it out. It collided with the dragon's breath and blocked a lot of energy, but the power of the dragon's breath was still stronger. After offsetting the power of the true energy bullet, it still had the remaining power to shoot at the Dragon Rat. A wall of earth suddenly rose in front of the Dragon Rat, and then the Dragon Rat retracted into its shell. Bang! The remaining power of the dragon's breath penetrated the earth wall condensed by the Dragon Rat, and was penetrated by the Dragon Rat with a low altitude drill, and the Dragon Rat rushed towards Steelix again. Rustling, but this time it did not rush directly at Steelix, but rushed into the mud on the side, and sneaked towards Steelix. Steelix looked around vigilantly to prevent the sudden attack of the Dragon Head Rat. Bang! The Dragon Head Rat rushed out of the mud on Steelix's head, its claws glowing, and it used its alloy claws to chop Steelix horizontally. Seeing this, Steelix had no choice but to use a rocket headbutt in a very short time. The rocket headbutt used by Steelix's body was really powerful, and it knocked the Dragon Head Rat away, but it also left scars on its head. It was left by the alloy claws of the Dragon Head Rat. The Screw Rat and several Dragon Head Rats also fought with the big rock snakes, and it was also very fierce. In the battle outside, Zhang Xingyun also sensed it. He released his mental power and saw the scene of the Dragon Head Rats fighting with the big rock snakes. Seeing this scene, Zhang Xingyun was also happy. There is such a good thing. He withdrew the space magic and then started to mine vigorously. With the noise outside, this side would not be discovered. Maybe he could be a fisherman. After more than 3 hours of mining, only 30% to 40% of this small vein was mined, less than half. Now with the invasion of rock snakes, mining will be easier. Zhang Xingyun expanded the surrounding space, and after covering up the breath, he also released Nidoking and Giant Claw Mantis to increase the speed of mining. If this small vein is mined smoothly, young Kyrus will not have to worry about not having or to eat for a long time. While the fight outside was bloody, Zhang Xingyun was mining in full swing inside. It can only be said that both sides are working hard. Zhang Xingyun is working hard to mine ore, while the Dragon Head Diggers are working hard to protect their homes, and the Steelixes are working hard to seize territory. The focus of the three is all for this small vein, but if these two groups knew that the vein they fought for was being mined by Zhang Xingyun, would they vomit blood? Chapter 205 The Compromise of the Dragon Head Rat. The aftermath of the battle outside did not affect Zhang Xingyun's mining at all, and even made him speed up. The battle outside was in full swing, and several novice and ordinary elves lost their fighting power and lay on the ground. Sensing this scene, Zhang Xingyun smiled even more happily. You guys fight, the more intense the better. If it were elite level elves, Zhang Xingyun would be even happier, but it was a pity that, after fighting for a long time, those elite elves had not fallen yet. Roka the leader of the dragon-headed mole seemed a little scared and proposed to withdraw from here, but Steelix didn't believe it. The dragon-headed mole with a criminal record made it difficult for it to believe. The leader of the dragon-headed mole became a little anxious. It really didn't want to fight anymore. During the period of stalemate with Steelix, it suffered a lot of injuries, and another dragon-headed mole in the early elite stage of the tribe was also severely injured. If this continued, the entire tribe would be finished. The leader of the dragon rat wanted to stop the loss in time, so he proposed to evacuate here, and communicated with Steelix again, but Steelix expressed his distrust, and pressed forward step by step. Roka the dragon rat's momentum changed, his claws glowed coldly, and he roared at Steelix, with the intention of dying together. Seeing the dragon rat like this, Steelix stopped pressing. If this was true, it could accept it. In the previous battle, although he had the upper hand, he also suffered some injuries. If the dragon rat went crazy, even if he could take it down, he would be injured. Now that the dragon rat proposed to evacuate, it was naturally the best for it, but Steelix was afraid that the dragon rat was deceiving it again. But after comprehensive consideration, Steelix roared several times, asking the tribesmen to stop and take a defensive posture. The dragon rat also didn't want to fight, so he called the tribesmen, and took the tribesmen who had lost their fighting power, and wanted to retreat. They could accept just giving up a place. If they lost their territory, they could find another one. But if all the tribe members died, they would be really gone. The leader of the dragon-headed mole knew this. A large rock snake roared beside the big steel snake. Did it mean to take the opportunity to attack? The big steel snake said no. It stared at the ground rock cloudstone with a greedy look in its eyes. Presumably, these minerals are still useful to it. It's a pity that the dragon-headed mole used a lot of them, and only these are left. Well, why don't you fight? How can I be the fisherman? Zhang Xingyun could still sense the movement outside. Seeing that they stopped fighting, Zhang Xingyun said it was a pity. If they continued to fight, as long as the two powerful elves lost their fighting ability, Zhang Xingyun would easily deal with the others. But they suddenly stopped fighting, and the big steel snake and the leader of the dragon-headed mole didn't seem to be seriously injured. This made Zhang Xingyun feel difficult, and he couldn't be the fisherman. If these elite elves were captured, they would be worth a lot of money, even if they were sold. What a pity. Zhang Xingyun started to think about whether there was any way to anger them. After thinking about it carefully, there was no way. If he used his supernatural power to attack them secretly, he would definitely be discovered with his current ability. If he met them again underground, Zhang Xingyun would have no choice but to run. The strongest giant claw mantis would not have a high chance of winning against Steelix here. Seeing this, Zhang Xingyun used space magic and asked the elves to speed up mining. The dragon-head mole slowly retreated to a place, and it was a while after they retreated. Seeing the dragon-head moles retreating, the big rock snakes roared a few times and came to the mine, and let the big steel snake go forward first. The big steel snake opened its mouth wide, bit off a large piece of ground rock cloudstone, chewed it a few times, and swallowed it into its stomach, and roared a few times. It seemed to say that it tasted good. After getting Steelix's consent, the elite onyx nibbled forward a few times first, and then the other onyxes took their turn. After this wave, the small mineral vein was reduced by 1/10 of its original size. After the onyxes finished eating, they lay aside and rested, digesting what they had just eaten. Some were recovering from their injuries, and the scene became quiet. Zhang Xingyun and the elves were mining, all like hard-working miners. After working for a while, they took a break, and then continued working, getting closer and closer to Onyx and the others. Onyx opened his eyes, and it seemed to feel the ore trembling slightly. Although the frequency was very small, it was really trembling. Steelix roared, drilled into the soil, and rushed towards Zhang Xingyun. I've been discovered. How come this Steelix has such a strong sense? I thought I could get some more. When Steelix went in, Zhang Xingyun sensed it, stopped, took back the elves, put on his space backpack, and disappeared from the spot with a teleport. He followed the path back, and used several teleports in a row. Steelix soon arrived at the place where Zhang Xingyun was just now. Seeing the traces of mining, he roared angrily, but he couldn't catch the culprit, which was the most infuriating. He searched around carefully, but didn't find the thief. He could only roar on the spot. Yunkarus, these minerals, rock, and marble are enough for you to eat for a while. The young Kira self on the belt moved and responded to him. Haha, today's harvest is good. Let's continue to see if there are any treasures. After a while, there will be nothing to find. When the secret realm descends, it will also cause the land to be dispersed and reorganized, so this kind of small mineral vein will appear. There may also be medium-sized veins. Unfortunately, according to common sense, medium-sized veins will have quasi-king spirits. With Zhang Xingyun's current strength, it seems that he can't handle it. As for large-scale veins, Zhang Xingyun can't control them either. This type of vein belongs to the government. To mine large-scale veins, at least you need to have the strength of a king, not to mention. What Zhang Xingyun can do now is to find some small veins to supply young Kyrus. If you get some more, it will be enough for young Kyrus to evolve into Shakurus. Let's talk about the rest later. After coming out of the underground, Zhang Xingyun was very happy. Anyone who harvested a batch of treasures would be happy. Zhang Xingyun now earns a lot, but the expenses of the spirits are also high. Zhang Xingyun roughly calculated that the cost of resources required to maintain the high-speed development on weekdays is about 1 million a day. The protagonist has 2 quasi-gods to raise and 2 elites, Nidoking and Giant Claw Mantis, to cultivate. This is not too much, right? The energy blocks were made by Zhang Xingyun himself, which saved a lot. Thanks to the fact that Zhang Xingyun is a person with special abilities and has such a strong ability to make money, he can invest so much in the elves. If it were ordinary training, there would not be such luxurious training as Zhang Xingyun. Of course, the training resources of some wealthy children would definitely not be lower than Zhang Xingyun's. Chapter 206 Cautious Giant Crab. The cost of elf cultivation varies from person to person. For example, at the beginning, Zhang Xingyun's economy was very poor. When cultivating Nidoking, he cultivated it according to the lowest standard. It can't be said that it's not good, but the elves cultivated in this way will not be very outstanding. All of Zhang Xingyun's elves now can fight against elves in the wild and win. How can it be done without spending a lot of resources? It's good to be able to defeat the same level, not to mention crossing levels. Hey, young Kyrus is for you. In a newly opened tree hole, Zhang Xingyun took out a few pieces of earth rock cloudstone and a few energy blocks from the space backpack and gave them to young Kyrus. Young Kyrus was very happy and satisfied with the food. Earth rock cloudstone is better than star steel ore. Everyone, eat more, and then we'll go outside and try our luck to see if we can get some more. There are still many good things in this newly arrived secret realm. Nido Hassan. Hey boo. Zhang Xingyun tore open a piece of compressed biscuit and just took a bite, and the electric beast murmured. After chewing a few times, Zhang Xingyun swallowed it into his stomach and replied, that environment is not very good, and the strength of the big steel snake is not weak. If we really fight, injuries are inevitable. Besides, what do you think we can get even if we win? Is it worth it? Hey boo, if you separate from everyone, you have to think about this more. Zhang Xingyun took the opportunity to instill this knowledge in the elves so that they can consciously pay attention to this. The wild is also very dangerous and anything can happen. Zhang Xingyun usually doesn't commit suicide. In addition, he is cautious and well prepared, so the probability of encountering an accident is still relatively small. But what if? Zhang Xingyun can't predict the future now. He couldn't have expected the blood bats to attack him, but it happened. So he still needs to be prepared. After resting in the tree hole, Zhang Xingyun and the elves set out again. This time they chose a direction and walked over. Kami, well, if nothing goes wrong, it's your turn this time. Don't worry. Zhang Xingyun comforted Kame Squirtle and continued to walk forward. After walking for a long time, he didn't encounter any suitable ones. He did encounter a few Rattatas and a few Pidgeots flying by. Kame Squirtle was not interested in fighting them. Most of them were at the beginner level. There was only one at the ordinary early stage, which didn't interest Kame Squirtle. Kame Squirtle was not bragging. With such a weakling, Kame Squirtle could fight 10 of them without even taking a breath. Now the ones who put pressure on him must be at least at the ordinary late stage. Those who are at the ordinary middle stage can usually be defeated in a very short time. When he got here, Zhang Xingyun heard the sound of splashing water. After a little thought, he went over. It was a small river, but it didn't look very clean. There were elf limbs and dried blood on the riverbank. Zhang Xingyun released his mental power and found out after a little investigation. There was a giant crab lying in ambush in the stream. With the help of limbs and blood, it was a simple trap. This trap didn't have much technical content, and the giant crab would do it, so there must be something to gain. The limbs were obviously the limbs of Bobo. The elves were smart and had personalities. There would be a few who would try. They were all very confident elves. They knew it was a trap at a glance. If they were careful and relied on their own conditions, they would get food. Or if they met a few hungry elves, they would definitely try. The method was simple, but it was useful. Cammy Squirtle, there's a late stage common giant crab in the river. It's pretty strong. Do you want to go? Cammy, the water is also your home ground, so go ahead. After hearing this, Cammy Squirtle went up, but did not attack the giant crab at the beginning. Instead, he walked towards the stump. Cammy Squirtle muttered as he looked at the stump, and even picked it up to take a look, but the giant crab just stayed quietly in the river without coming out. It seems that this giant crab is also a steady person. Seeing Cammy Squirtle enter its trap, it did not come out to attack. It's quite steady. Do you think you can't take down Cammy Squirtle? The giant crab stayed quietly in the river without showing its head. It should have felt the energy fluctuations on Cammy Squirtle. The middle stage of common is close to the late stage. You can tell the defensive ability by looking at the turtle shell. So the steady giant crab did not come out, but let Cammy Squirtle take the bait. Stop playing, Cammy Squirtle. Do it. Cammy gave Cammy Squirtle an order through telepathy. Squirtle gathered a wave missile and threw it down, blowing out a large area of water, plants and soil. The giant crab was also blown out. As soon as it came out, it distanced itself from Squirtle, muttering to itself that the bait was given to Squirtle, and it didn't want to fight with Squirtle, and asked Squirtle not to disturb it. Squirtle raised his hand and sprayed a water gun. The giant crab seemed to be irritated and muttered a few words. Facing the bubble beam used by Squirtle, it also fought back. After seeing the giant crab's counterattack, Squirtle also became spirited and started fighting. The giant crab used surfing and rushed over. With the help of the thrust of surfing, its two giant claws glowed and chopped down. Facing the fierce attack of the giant crab, Squirtle did not take it head on, but stepped back to avoid it. As soon as the giant crab landed, it waved its two claws, approached Squirtle, and attacked. Half of the giant crab's combat power is in these two giant claws, so naturally they dance with great force, and are quite powerful. The two fought in the river. Both of them are water type elves, and fighting in the water still received some amplification. The giant crab's tile splitting attack was avoided by Squirtle. Taking this opportunity, Squirtle's wave missile also hit the giant crab, making it stagger. Then the giant crab's hail was offset by Squirtle's blizzard. A thin layer of ice formed on the water surface. In the battle, the giant mantis's attacks often failed to hit Squirtle, while Squirtle's attacks always hit it. The rhythm of the battle was in Squirtle's hands, and the steady giant crab also knew that it wanted to escape many times, but was stopped by Squirtle. After a while, the giant crab lay in the water and lost its combat ability. This giant crab was still okay, but it met Squirtle and was killed here. Otherwise, with his light green qualifications and steady and cautious character, there is absolutely no problem for him to develop into an elite, and he also has hope of becoming a class-seeking. Chapter 207 Nangang Yeo is being hunted. The giant crab was collected by the Pokeball thrown by Zhang Xingyun. There was no resistance, and it was successfully subdued. This giant crab that did not provoke Zhang Xingyun became Zhang Xingyun's harvest. In the wild, this is the norm. Why do people risk their lives to hunt in the wild? Travel? Enjoy the wild scenery? There may be such people for these, but Zhang Xingyun is not. He came out to hunt in the wild, just to make money and resources. It can only be said that the luck of this giant crab is a little worse. It met Zhang Xingyun, was beaten up, and was subdued. It faces an unknown future. The better one, it will become a Pokémon of a certain trainer. With its qualifications, it will have great potential in the future. The bad side is, In the eyes of the giant crab, Zhang Xingyun and Squirtle are bad guys and invaders. But in the wild, strength is respected. Let's go, came Squirtle. Follow this river and see if we can meet another suitable opponent. Came after a little packing, he walked down in one direction of the river. In a dense forest, Nangang Yeo stood on the back of the desert dragonfly, her face a little panicked, with many scars on her body, and no time to treat them. At this moment, she was still bleeding, and flew quickly towards the direction of Daewon City. There was a figure behind her in the woods, jumping nimbly, using the trunks to quickly approach, chasing quickly, and attacking the flying desert dragonfly from time to time. Because of this attack, the desert dragonfly slowed down and flew at a low altitude. Perhaps it wanted to use the trees below to cover it, or perhaps it was to guard against other reasons. Desert dragonfly, can you go faster? Nangang Minimum said in a panic. This can be said to be the most dangerous time since she grew up. Now the strongest elf on her body is the desert dragonfly. At this moment, there is also a Qua-seeking elf chasing behind her. If she is caught, it will be really dangerous. She was unlucky. She just defeated an elite level cunning Tengu when she passed by, and then another cunning Tengu appeared behind her. Nangang Yeo retreated immediately when she saw this, but the cunning Tengu was relentless and chased after her. On the way to escape, Desert Dragonfly was also attacked several times and had several wounds on her body. Gardevoir also exhausted her mental power to help escape and is now recuperating in the Pokeball. Her current situation is not good. The cunning Tengu behind her is not a kind person. On the other side, Stottle was fighting with Frog. This frog had a deeper understanding of melee skills, and for a while, he actually suppressed Stottle. Stottle also became interested. He did not use other tactics, and directly fought with Frog in close combat. Zhang Xingyun, who was on the side, did not say anything, but just watched quietly. Pay attention to the surroundings, and be ready at all times. This frog is probably a lone ranger. He has been fighting with Stottle for a while, and no Pokémon from the tribe came to help. This made Zhang Xingyun feel a little pity. The aftermath of the battle between Squirtle and Frog also caused the surrounding elves to leave. This is a relatively small river. No elite level elves have been found so far. They are all ordinary and novice level elves, with more ordinary level elves. Zhang Xingyun guessed that this might be because the secret realm has not been here for long. I believe that elite level elves will appear here soon. Ordinary level elves are also an important source of food for them. While Zhang Xingyun was paying attention to his surroundings, Squirtle and Frog on the field exchanged blows and pulled away. Then both of them used freezing rays and shot at each other. The two freezing rays met in midair, and after a stalemate, they slowly pushed towards Frog. Frog's reaction was also relatively fast. Seeing that his freezing ray was not as good as Squirtle's freezing ray, he quickly moved his body when he was about to approach and avoided the freezing ray. Puff. After dodging, Frog used a water gun. Squirtle changed his moves, and a water cannon thicker than a water gun came over to greet him. It shot away the water gun of Frog with great force and hit Frog without losing momentum. Bang! Frog was hit by the water cannon and fell into the river. Squirtle jumped up, and a wave of water was raised behind him, rushing towards Frog who wanted to escape. This was a surfing move, a move that Squirtle had learned not long ago. Bang! A lot of water splashed, and Squirtle suffered continuous attacks. This time, the battle was not like the beginning, but Squirtle suppressed Frog. Frog was beaten back step by step, and had little power to fight back. Squirtle's attack became more and more swift, and he swung his freezing fist with great power, shooting left and right. After a set of punches, Squirtle condensed a huge wave missile and hit Frog. Bang! Amid the screams of the fast-swimming Frog, Squirtle walked onto the shore without looking back. After putting his hands on his turtle shell, he murmured a few words in a masterly manner. Kami. Squirtle looked at Zhang Xingyun and called out a few times. After hearing the response, he put on his original masterly manner again. There were click 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 sounds, and Zhang Xingyun walked out from the cameras on the side. Squirtle just now was yelling for Zhang Xingyun to take a picture of it, and Zhang Xingyun also took a few handsome pictures of it. Seeing Zhang Xingyun coming out, Squirtle leaned over to take a look, and was quite satisfied. The camera captured all of its handsomeness, which made it very satisfied. Young G, Betty, Young Kiris and Baby Dragon boasted a few words, which roughly meant that Squirtle was awesome. Cammy Squirtle was very pleased and waved his hand, indicating that this was a basic exercise. Okay, Squirtle, this is just a normal level battle, and you are left like this. If you defeat the king, you will float to the sky. Seeing Squirtle's look, Zhang Xingyun smiled and said something, asking Squirtle not to float. Cammy after listening to it, Squirtle fell silent, as if he was lost in thought. Zhang Xingyun walked forward, put the swift swimmer floating on the water into the Pokeball, and walked back. Cammy, well, now you can't beat him, even if you have 100 of them. Work hard, Squirtle. Cammy. Very good, keep up this momentum. Squirtle meant that it would defeat more opponents, elites, quasi-kings, and kings. Seeing Squirtle's enthusiastic look, Zhang Xingyun smiled and encouraged him, and left here with the young Kiris. Continue to walk along the river. Zhang Xingyun suddenly felt a strong energy fluctuation. The next moment, Zhang Xingyun appeared on the top of a tree, holding a telescope in his hand, and saw a cunning Tengu chasing a desert dragonfly. There seems to be someone on the back of the desert dragonfly. Is this Nangang? Through the telescope, he saw Nangang on the back of the desert dragonfly. Wow. Zhang Xingyun quickly took back the Squirtle and others, released the Pidgeot, and rushed towards Nangang. Chapter 208 Cunning Tengu. It's really strange. How could Nangang provoke that cunning Tengu? That elf is not a good person. Zhang Xingyun, who was gliding quickly while holding the claws of the Pidgeot, felt a little strange. As a person with the same ability, Nangang was being hunted down like this. As Zhang Xingyun, who was sitting at the same table, he would naturally not stand by and watch her die. The desert dragonfly alone might not be able to beat the cunning Tengu, but with the giant claw mantis after being possessed by the spirit, the two of them might be able to fight against the cunning Tengu, and at worst they could escape more safely. Now they can only hurry over before the desert dragonfly loses its combat effectiveness. Desert dragonfly, pay attention. I will use teleportation again. Suddenly, Nangang and the desert dragonfly appeared 10 meters away on the other side, flying almost close to the ground. The desert dragonfly's flying skills are also very superb, and flying close to the ground is also very stable. It has opened up a little distance from the cunning Tengu behind. If she used it several times in a row, she might be able to shake off the cunning Tengu, but Nangang, who was on the back of the desert dragonfly, was pale and haggard at this time, and it seemed that she could not use teleportation. Nangang spatial talent was still good, just a little weaker than Zhang Xingyun, but the accumulation and effect of the skill of teleportation was still much worse than Zhang Xingyun. If my teleportation was at the same level as his, would I have shaken off the cunning Tengu long ago? Nangang, who was pale, suddenly thought of Zhang Xingyun, her deskmate, a person with a strong ability to perceive space. Now is not the time to think about this. If we are caught up, we will have to explain here today, and my parents will not be able to see them, my friend. Nangang murmured, and continued to command the desert dragonfly. The cunning Tengu behind her was like a ghost, getting closer and closer to her. Although she had just opened up a distance by teleportation, the distance was also getting closer at this time. The situation was very serious. Nangang reached out and wiped her face, cheering up. As the cunning Tengu approached, her face became even paler. The feeling of being close to death was really desperate, especially in this despair. There was a little hope, but it was still elusive. Nangang touched the storage ring on her finger to see if there was anything she could use. She searched over and over again, but couldn't find anything. She had just used what she could use, and she even lost her space backpack. The cunning Tengu jumped up with the help of a tree trunk and got closer to her. He lost the seed machine gun while jumping behind her. The places where the desert dragonfly flew over were covered by the seed machine gun, making explosions. The desert dragonfly cried out in pain and fell in one direction. With a bang, dust and leaves were stirred up, and the desert dragonfly and Nangang fell all over the place, looking very embarrassed. ZHU the cunning Tengu's pursuit also arrived, and he raised his hand and threw a shadow ball. Yo, at this critical moment, the desert dragonfly danced with its injured wings and moved, using a wave of dragon power to resist. Bang, the dragon power naturally couldn't resist the shadow ball, and the aftermath of the shadow ball continued to attack, but was blocked by the desert dragonfly's body. Yo, desert dragonfly Shan'e me. The elves in Nangang Yeo's belt, who was half squatting on the ground, came out, guarded Nangang Yeo, and protected her inside. Everyone seeing this scene, tears flashed in Nangang Yeo's eyes, and she also blamed herself for her recklessness. Just now, I was thinking to myself, find a place to release them, and don't let them die with me. But I was rejected by the elves. No matter what she said, now seeing the elves protecting her in the middle, thinking of them dying tragically at the hands of the cunning Tengu in a while, tears flowed from my eyes. The cunning Tengu would not show mercy to a two-legged beast, and fought with the elves such as the desert dragonfly. Shan'e yo, how is it possible? You didn't listen to the advice I gave you just now. You want me to listen to you? How is it possible? If we are going to die, let's die together. Nangang Yeo shouted, stood up, took out a throwing knife from the ring, and rushed forward. She has also received training in this area, and has the energy feedback of the elves. In addition to her own ability, she can be regarded as an ordinary late-stage combat force. Bang! The cunning Tengu used rock crushing, and slapped the ground. Several large pieces of rubble flew over. When Nangang Yeo was covering Pokpi, she was hit by the rubble, and Pokpi and her flew backwards like a kite with a broken string, falling to the ground on one side, with blood flowing from the corner of her mouth. Half of her body was in great pain, and she felt very painful. The magic girl combat uniform on her body was also damaged in many places and stained with blood. The physique of humans is still not as good as that of elves at this ordinary level. Am I really going to die here today? Nangang Yeo murmured. Yo Shan'e, she heard the cry of the elves in her ears. She knew from her perception that a shadow ball was coming, but she couldn't move, and she couldn't use instant teleportation. Everyone, leave. Boom, an explosion sounded, and a large airwave came out, stirring up a large amount of dust, surrounding the surroundings. Shan'e the Gardev were lying on the ground shouted helplessly, and the Caterpie next to it was also wailing. The dust dissipated, revealing the true face inside. There were two figures, one red and one purple. Zhang Xingyun appeared on the other side holding Nangang Yeo. How can you still feel pain in your body after death? Isn't it said that you will turn into a soul after death? Hey, classmate, why are you here? Are you dead too? Nangang Yeo felt that she was dead, but she saw Zhang Xingyun here. At this moment, she thought Zhang Xingyun was still quite handsome. Looking at the silly Nangang Yeo in his arms, Zhang Xingyun said with a smile, yes, I guessed you would die, so I came to accompany you. Are you touched? No. Why do I hear the voices of Gardevoir? Well, Gardevoir and the others must have died too, so they followed me. Yes, that's right. No, this is a forest. Nangang Yeo in Zhang Xingyun's arms opened her eyes, no longer confused, and found that she was still in the original forest, but in Zhang Xingyun's warm arms, she struggled. The pain in her body made her gasp. Don't struggle, you are seriously injured now, I will put you down. Don't let your injuries get worse. Put me down quickly. Nangang Yeo smelled a unique smell of boys in Zhang Xingyun's arms. Her face flushed a little and asked Zhang Xingyun to put her down quickly. Okay, you are so rare. I don't know what pig feed you have eaten recently, so heavy. Zhang Xingyun complained, attached to Nangang Yeo's body with his supernatural power, and put her down. Chapter 209 arriving at the scene. Nangang Yeo was choked and didn't know what to say for a while. Go, that cunning Tengu is a qua-seeking spirit, go. Nangang Yeo said anxiously. Well, I know, but you look like a little beggar now, dirty. Now is not the time to talk about this. Well, I know. Click, Zhang Xingyun distracted Nangang Yeo's attention and helped her straighten her bones. Nangang Yeo only reacted at this time. While she was talking, her bones seemed to be straightened, and the pain came, making her cry out in pain. Who are Yeti? Come out, you ceiling waves. Hua Yeti released a gentle healing energy towards Nangang Yeo, which scattered on her body to heal her. Hua Yeti will stay here. Here, you take this medicine first. I will go over to help and delay for a while. When you are almost there, shout ha, and we will retreat. After speaking, Zhang Xingyun rushed to the giant claw mantis. Watching Zhang Xingyun's departing figure, Nangang Yeo was deeply moved. He was able to rescue her with elite strength. This friendship was very precious. I had to heal my wounds quickly to help. Shadow clone of giant claw mantis plus lightning flash. Approach it and use cross scissors. Hassan giant claw mantis split into a dozen shadows and went towards Cunning Tengu. ZHU it collided with Cunning Tengu's rock crusher and was repelled back. Giant claw mantis, high speed stars, and then retreat. Nidoking wears this life gem and uses cold thorns. Zhang Xingyun appeared beside Nidoking, put a pink bead on Nidoking, and then appeared on the other side. Nidoking felt that, as soon as he put on the bead, a large force surrounded him, and he seemed to be much stronger. Whoosh, 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 the cold thorns quickly condensed, and after giant claw mantis retreated, it shot at Cunning Tengu. Bang, 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 it seemed to hit, but the smoke cleared, revealing the figure of Cunning Tengu. A pit appeared around it, and it itself did not suffer much damage. The attack of Nidoking with the life orb has improved a lot. Zhang Xingyun muttered to the side. As for not being able to hurt Cunning Tengu, that was not normal. He was a quasi-king Pokémon, and Nidoking was only in the early elite stage. Even if it was stronger than the same level and had the life orb, it was impossible to defeat a quasi-king Pokémon. It was possible for a late elite. This life orb was just exchanged by Zhang Xingyun in the system, and it seemed to be quite effective. Yo Desert Dragonfly and the others also slowed down at this time and wanted to rush to help. They knew Zhang Xingyun, and seeing him coming meant that their trainer was fine. After the giant claw mantis was possessed by the spirit, plus multiple elite Pokémon, it could still fight against Cunning Tengu. It didn't take too long. When Nangang Yeo recovered almost completely, they retreated. Just Desert Dragonfly to help. The others, hurry back to your master's side. Hurry up. With Desert Dragonfly's strength, it can still help. Gardevoir is a psychic type and is seriously injured. The other Pokémon strength is only ordinary level, and they can't help. Yo-Yo Desert Dragonfly vibrated its wings and rushed over to help. After hearing Desert Dragonfly's Yo-Yo and Zhang Xingyun's instructions, the other Pokémon also rushed back to Nangang Yeo's side. Classmate, heal your wounds quickly and take your Pokémon back. You can't hold on here for long. Okay. Nidoking, who was blessed with the life orb, cooperated with giant claw mantis and Desert Dragonfly to fight against Cunning Tengu. Cunning Tengu moved very fast in the woods, and only giant claw mantis could barely keep up. Fortunately, giant claw mantis was amplified by the spirit attachment technique, and it also had the advantage in attributes, so it had the capital to fight. If it was only Nidoking, it would have been defeated long ago. Bang! The large Nidoking was blown away by the approaching Cunning Tengu, and it crashed into many trees. Hassan, when Cunning Tengu was about to continue attacking, the giant claw mantis arrived and hit the place where the Cunning Tengu was standing with an alloy claw, and then continued to attack from close. The ground where the Cunning Tengu was standing softened, which was the work of the Desert Dragonfly. This gave the giant claw mantis an opportunity. With a flash of lightning, it approached and attacked continuously. Cunning Tengu was also agile. When there was a problem on the ground, he jumped onto the tree and fought with the giant claw mantis with the help of the tree trunk, steadily suppressing the giant claw mantis. The Desert Dragonfly in the sky often helped a little, and Nidoking on the ground also attacked from time to time. The three of them worked together, but they were still at a disadvantage. The three of the giant claw mantis had undergone rigorous training, but they were still suppressed. It can be seen that it is difficult to fight across levels. This Cunning Tengu is about to reach the middle stage of Quasi-King, so powerful. Zhang Xingyun, who was secretly directing from the side, frowned and watched the battle on the field. As expected, the elf who forced Nangang Yeo to be like this was really strong. Xingyun, I'm done. What should I do next? Nangang Yeo's voice came to his ears, asking Zhang Xingyun about the next move. Let your Desert Dragonfly withdraw first. Okay. After Zhang Xingyun finished speaking, He also informed the giant claw mantis and received a clear response from the giant claw mantis. Hassan the giant claw mantis suddenly exerted force, and the cunning Tengu didn't know why. For the sake of safety, he subconsciously stepped back a few steps and pulled away. Taking advantage of the opportunity, the two took a nidoking and desert dragonfly. Zhang Xingyun appeared beside Nangang Yeo, put Nangang Yeo on his back, and took back the giant claw mantis. He moved away from the original place several times in a row. Zhu the cunning Tengu behind him roared, and chased after him again. What hatred or resentment do I have? Did you blow up its house? Do you hate me so much? No, I just defeated a cunning Tengu of elite level. It was the one who started the fight, and then I was chased all the way. You are so lucky, Deskmate. I can't help it. Zhang Xingyun talked to Nangang Minimum while running away, and learned the reason why the cunning Tengu was chasing her. Nangang Yeo has not fully recovered yet. The time Zhang Xingyun bought just now was to let her recover from her important injuries, just so that she could be carried by Zhang Xingyun to escape now. If it was the state at the beginning, the bumps alone would be enough to kill her. Wow, Deskmate, you have gained weight recently. You are so heavy. You see, I only teleported with you for about 20 meters at a time. It should be more than that. What time is it? You are still talking nonsense. I'm just a little heavier. Don't worry about the details. Zhang Xingyun was still very confident in his teleportation and escape, so he talked a few words to ease Nangang Yeo's tension. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 210, Smoke Escape Technique. Zhang Xingyun carried Nangang Yeo on his back and rushed towards Daewon City. Once they got there, if the cunning Tengu didn't know what was good for him, the trainers in Daewon City would not be polite to him. Zhu the roar of the cunning Tengu could be heard from afar, chasing him relentlessly. Hold on tight, I'm going to use the smoke escape technique. Smoke escape technique? Yes, hold on tight. Zhang Xingyun took out a powerful breath clearing bomb in one hand and a smoke bomb in the other hand from his ring, and threw them down after they appeared. Kai kai kai. Waves of smoke filled the road where Zhang Xingyun passed by, and there was a smell in the smoke. Zhang Xingyun carried Nangang Yeo on his back, teleporting and throwing at the same time, and ran many paths, and finally ran towards the direction of Daewon City. Zhu perhaps because he couldn't track Zhang Xingyun and the others. The cunning Tengu was confused by the powerful breath clearing bomb and the smoke, and roared in place. You are amazing. Isn't this a basic operation? Didn't you prepare it? Yes, but I put it in that backpack. If I lose it, I won't be able to use it. Well, be careful this time. Next time, don't run into me by chance like this time. Thank you very much this time, otherwise I would have died there. Nangang Yeo on Zhang Xingyun's back said seriously. What are you thanking me for? If you want to thank me, why don't you just give me your body? I will accept it, if I suffer a little loss. Zhang Xingyun joked. You are beautiful. Nangang Yeo rolled her eyes. It's amazing that she is so serious. After running for a while, seeing that she had escaped the pursuit of the cunning Tengu, she found a place to rest. By the way, treat the giant mantis and the others. In the previous battle, the giant mantis and Nidoking were both injured. Now that there is a chance, I will deal with them. The main reason is that Zhang Xingyun's superpowers are not much left, and he needs to adjust his breath. Most of the Pokémon here are newbies, so it doesn't look dangerous. Carrying Nangang Yeo on his back, he arrived in front of a tree hole, and used his supernatural power to scan the surroundings. He found that all the Pokémon were newbies and occasionally a few ordinary Pokémon. He let the giant claw mantis come out, and scare them away, and then he rested here. Okay, let's rest here. My supernatural power is running out, so I have to rest for a while. Yeah. After Nangang Yeo got off Zhang Xingyun's back, he released Gardevoir and the others, and then rummaged through the ring to find medicine. Zhang Xingyun also applied medicine to the giant claw mantis and the others, and Huoed next to him was also helping. Well, give me some medicine. I don't have enough medicine left. You can borrow it. I will return it when I go back. Nangang Yeo said to Zhang Xingyun, who was applying medicine to Nidoking, a little embarrassed. What do you mean by borrowing? I'll help you deal with it now. After Zhang Xingyun applied medicine to Nidoking, he took the medicine and walked to Gardevoir and other Pokémon and dealt with them. Thank you very much. No, it's just a piece of cake. Seeing Zhang Xingyun applying medicine to the elves very skillfully, Nangang Yeo also came over to help. Hey, Bandage, your treatment method is very professional. Nangang Yeo handed the prepared medicine to Zhang Xingyun, watching his movements and praised him. Hey, your deskmate is a junior breeder, so this is a compulsory course. Zhang Xingyun replied, and then applied medicine to Gardevoir, and then said to Flower Leaf D, healing wave. Flower Gardevoir. When the gentle healing energy attached to Gardevoir let out a comfortable cry, and its condition improved a lot. Your medicine is so easy to use, it must be expensive. Nangang Yeo asked when she saw Gardevoir's appearance. It's okay. In this regard, we need to get some good ones. If we don't have the conditions, forget it. If we have the conditions, we should do the best we can. The elves are also fighting for us, so we can't treat them badly in this regard. That's right. The medicines used by Zhang Xingyun are not cheap. Some of them are exchanged from the system and are of high value. Since you are out hunting in the wild, it is inevitable to get injured. At this time, it is better to have good medicines than bad ones. There are elves who did not die at the hands of elves, but died due to untimely treatment. Medicines are definitely an important reason. Medicines are another major expense after cultivating resources, and almost every trainer must purchase them. After the advent of elves, the money-making industries in the past are not as profitable as the elf industry and the medical industry. Elves and medical care are far ahead of other industries. It took half an hour to deal with the last desert dragonfly. Zhang Xingyun walked aside, took out clean water to wash it, and walked over. He took out a bottle of water and food, and handed them to Nangang Yeo. Just eat it, and then take a break, and we'll leave here. When Nangang Yeo was treating the elves just now, she was helping. Zhang Xingyun could hear the rumbling of her stomach clearly. Zhang Xingyun also knew that she probably didn't have any food, so he handed her some. Thank you. Nangang Yeo's face was slightly red, and she took the food handed to her by Zhang Xingyun. She was really hungry now, so she took it without hesitation. Hey Xingyun, get some energy cubes for the desert dragonflies. They're probably hungry too. Okay, I'm doing it. Zhang Xingyun put down the bowl in front of the desert dragonflies, put in the elf food, added a few energy cubes, and also placed a bowl of yogurt. Seeing Zhang Xingyun giving food to the elves, Nangang Yeo suddenly felt that this classmate with a dark face was quite handsome and attentive. Why are you looking at me? I treat everyone equally. The amount of food I share is the same as my elves. Zhang Xingyun turned around and saw Nangang Yeo looking at him eagerly and said, Nangang Yeo was choked for a moment and didn't know what to say, so she quietly finished the food in her hand. Anyway, Zhang Xingyun was busy with the elves, so she ate first. Well, I'm finally done. Let's eat. Zhang Xingyun sat next to Nangang Yeo, took out the food and started eating. When did you capture this young Kyrus? I don't think I've seen him before. Nangang Yeo asked when she saw young Kyrus Young G finishing one or after another during the meal. Young Kyrus, I found this by chance when I descended into the secret realm of Yangxing Forest. At that time, it was still an egg. The amazing thing is that it could call for help, and I noticed it. At that time, it didn't know why it was buried deep underground. I spent a lot of effort to get it back. Then it seems that you and it are really destined. Maybe. Zhang Xingyun looked at young Kyrus who was eating. Young Kyrus also noticed that Zhang Xingyun was looking at it, so he stuck his head out, blinked his eyes, and gave them a thumbs up. Affirmation from young Kyrus +1. Zhang Xingyun saw it and smiled, and Nangang Yeo next to him smiled quietly. Both of them were amused by young Kyrus's antics. Chapter 211 Safe Arrival at Daewon City. Young Kyrus continued to huff and puff and soon finished his portion, then ran to Baby Dragon to get some food, and Baby Dragon generously ate with young Kyrus. Young Kyrus did not eat baby dragon's energy cubes, but ate Pokémon food. The two little ones huffed and puffed and soon finished. Then they looked at Stottle, who was eating on the side, and just as they were about to go over, they were stopped by Zhang Xingyun. 2 more portions were prepared, and they were arranged for young Kyrus and baby dragon, and the 2 little ones started to eat. After finishing, he sat back in his original position, smiled and said with emotion, "Young Kyrus's appetite has increased again. We have to make more money, otherwise we can't even afford to eat. Be content. Others don't have what they want, but Takwasi God elves do need a lot of resources, especially young Kyrus. I can see that your young Kyrus is very good. Yeah. The health of the elves can also be seen from their appetite. For example, young Kyrus is in the growth period and will eat a lot, which is a good thing. Just like when humans reach puberty, there is also a period of time when their bodies develop faster and their appetite increases a lot. Many parents will prepare food for their children during this period. Now young Kyrus is the child, and Zhang Xingyun is the parent who prepares the food. Did you make these intermediate energy cubes? Yes. I can't tell that you can make intermediate energy cubes. It looks very good. Nangan Yeo looked at Zhang Xingyun, and the more she looked at him, the more she felt that Zhang Xingyun was a freak. Not only is he a person with special abilities, he also cooks delicious meals, is very good at studying, is a top student, is also good at training elves, and can now make intermediate energy blocks. I don't know if there are other methods that she hasn't seen. He is really a treasure boy. Well, don't look at me like that. Children from poor families have to grow up early. I can only do this. You can also, but don't look at me like a monster, okay? Zhang Xingyun noticed that Nangan Yeo was looking at her with the eyes of a freak, and said, "Forget it, I don't have the energy." Nangan Yeo shook her head. She knew how she was, but she was really not good at cultivating. What's wrong with your giant claw mantis, the strength of the late elite? Oh, the giant claw mantis was originally my guardian elf, and later I admired it very much, and it also chose me, so I took it in. It is currently the strongest elf in my team. Awesome plus. Nangan Yeo was shocked by Zhang Xingyun again. He actually got the recognition of the giant claw mantis in the late elite stage. You know, it is very difficult for a powerful Pokémon to recognize a trainer. Zhang Xingyun was able to do it, which surprised her. Hey, do you have anything else? Tell me, let me be surprised all at once. You want to know? It was said on TV. Knowing too much will. Hehe. Don't give me that. If you don't want to tell me, then don't tell me. Seeing Zhang Xingyun's look, Nangan Yeo rolled her eyes and stopped asking questions. She also realized that it was not a good question to ask like this. Here is this bottle of super potion. Zhang Xingyun handed a bottle of blue potion to Nangan Yeo. This potion was the potion that Zhang Xingyun used in the cave. It was developed by the Superpower Association and was helpful for restoring abilities. I don't want to teleport with you on my back. It's exhausting. After seeing Nangan Yeo happily take it, Zhang Xingyun said, you can't find a girlfriend like this, deskmate. Nangan Yeo complained. After hearing this, she didn't dare to do it at all. Didn't he mean that she was heavy? Girlfriend? Why do I need that? Women will only affect my speed of training Pokémon. Zhang Xingyun replied very stubbornly. Well, I hope you will remember it later. That's for sure. Zhang Xingyun said confidently. Nangan Yeo looked at Zhang Xingyun deeply, then chuckled and said, I'm really curious about what your future girlfriend will be like. If I knew you were like this, it would be interesting to think about it. Okay, recover quickly. Zhang Xingyun said, and began to regulate his breath. Seeing this, Nangan Yeo stopped chatting, and began to regulate his breath. With the Pokémons on the field, there would be no danger. After Zhang Xingyun's breath was regulated, when he opened his eyes, he saw Nangan Yeo pressing the body of the baby dragon. It can be seen that the baby dragon is enjoying it very much. There is also a sleeping Tajipi next to the baby dragon. The desert dragonfly is also communicating with Nidoking and Mantis. Flowery and Gardevoir are with her. I don't know what they are talking about. It seems that she and the two Pokémons are very happy. The breeze blew past, ruffling the hair on the girl's forehead, and the warm sunshine also sprinkled on her body, as if she was covered with a layer of glowing gauze, making her, who was already beautiful and delicate, even more beautiful and moving. Zhang Xingyun's heart was rippled, and realizing this, he quickly shook his head. Damn it, why is my heart beating so fast? Then he continued to regulate his breath for a while before standing up. You're fine, I've packed up everything, let's go. Okay. After taking all the elves back, the desert dragonfly was left on the field, and then the two sat on the back of the desert dragonfly, and when the desert dragonfly flapped its wings, it flew into the sky, and flew towards the direction of Daewon City. Along the way, there was no attack from the elves. After spending some time, they arrived safely outside the city of Daewon City. After landing, Zhang Xingyun took out a motorcycle from the space and drove Nangang Yeo to the city. He dropped Nangang Yeo off at a 5-star hotel and said goodbye and left. I just found a store with good reputation and sold all the things I got, including those I couldn't use. I also added a large number of resources for future use. After walking out of the store, Zhang Xingyun stretched and exhaled. I'm done. What do you want to eat? The Pokeballs on his belt moved, and in telepathy, they said what they wanted to eat. Okay, I got it. Zhang Xingyun looked at his phone and walked towards a big restaurant. It was time to reward himself. While Zhang Xingyun was enjoying the food, Nangang Yeo returned to the hotel and called her cousin Nangang Yan. When Nangang Yan heard this, he put down what he was doing, rode on Dragonite, and rushed to Daewon City. Not long after Nangang Yeo hung up the phone, Nangang Yan rushed to the hotel, where Nangang Yeo was, not even caring about his hairstyle, and knocked on the door of Nangang Yeo's room. Chapter 212. Description of experience. Brother, you're here. Seeing Nangang Yan appear outside the door, Nangang Yeo stepped forward and hugged him enthusiastically. Fortunately you're okay, otherwise I don't know how to explain to my uncle and the others. Are you injured? After hugging him, Nangang Yan asked. Brother, don't worry, I'm fine now. Come in and sit down first, I'll talk slowly. Okay. After the two entered the house, Nangang Yeo poured a cup of warm water for Nangang Yan to drink. One of her cousins treated her very well. Whenever he heard that she was in trouble, he would rush over as soon as possible. The relationship between the two was also very good. After she left home, she didn't have much money, and it was also provided by him. Nangang Yan was also the brother who loved her the most. Tell me, what happened specifically? Where is the elf that attacked you? I didn't hear it clearly on the phone at that time. Nangang Yan asked, after drinking the water. Brother, don't be anxious. Drink another glass of water. Look at your messy hair. It doesn't match your usual image. It's okay. These are not important. You tell me the story first. Well, it's like this. I've been adventuring in the wild outside Daewon City these days. I have also gained a lot from desert dragonflies. Just today, I passed by the territory of the cunning Tengu, and then Nangang Yeo told everything that happened today, and Nangang Yan, who was beside her, listened quietly. When he heard that the cunning Tengu attacked her, Nangang Yan's eyes flashed with murderous intent. When he heard that Nangang Yeo was hit by the cunning Tengu, he clenched his fists, but didn't say anything, and continued to listen. After hearing that it was Zhang Xingyun who rescued Nangang Yeo, his face improved. That's how it is. This time, I was able to escape danger without any danger. I also gained some experience. Sister, don't do this next time. If you need any resources, just tell me. I won't tell my uncle. There's no need for you to go on an adventure in the wild. Hey, thank you, brother, but I still like to go on adventures. I don't want to be a canary, kept in a cage. I want to see the outside world and meet many interesting people. Nangang Yeo expressed her ideal. Then you can't not bring the guardian elf given to you by your family. If you have it this time, there will be no danger. I won't. I've said I'll rely on myself. The old man has also said something fierce. I won't use him, so as to avoid being told by him. Besides, I won't accept his arrangement. Okay, I'll do as you say. Don't call me uncle as an old man. He is still worthy of respect. Humph. Nangan Yan pulled out a space ring from one finger and handed it to Nangan Yeo. Sister, there are resources here, and there is also a bank card. The password is your birthday. Go and get it yourself. Remember to tell me what you need, don't go alone. This is my personal support for you. It has nothing to do with uncle and others. Hey, thank you, brother. I love you so much. Nangan Yeo happily hugged Nangan Yan and shouted, "You." Nangan Yan looked at her dotingly. Her cousin was a person with a strong sense of autonomy, but she was also the one he loved the most. Among her peers, she had the best relationship with him. As soon as she left home, she came to Nanayu to join him. By the way, you have to take this Pokeball with you. There is no room for negotiation. Nangan Yan didn't know what he thought of. He took out a Pokeball from his belt and placed it in front of Nangan Yeo, saying in a slightly serious tone, "After this happened, I was worried about you. If you continue to go on adventures in the wild, you have to take this Pokeball with you. Okay, brother, don't be so serious, it's easy to get old." Nangan Yeo also knew it and did not refuse. She took the Pokeball and put it on her belt. Seeing Nangan Yeo took the Pokeball, Nangan Yan was relieved. "By the way, brother, don't tell my family about what happened today, and don't worry about my classmate saving me. I will handle it myself. I don't care. If you tell your family, I will break up with you. I won't tell you for now, but I will tell you after a while. I must tell you. If my uncle knows that I'm hiding it, it will be bad. At most, I will briefly tell my uncle during the new year. Okay, just don't tell him now, otherwise you will lose your lovely sister. Okay." The two chatted for a long time. Nangan Yan's phone rang many times before leaving. He left here and gave many instructions before leaving. "Goodbye, big brother." "Yeah, goodbye." Nangan Yan arranged an elf to guard Nangan Yeo before he felt relieved. He flew to the land of the cunning Tengu tribe, looked for a while, snorted coldly, but did nothing, and flew directly in one direction. The elf's howl came, accompanied by waves of fighting, and it subsided after a while. After a while, the sound of fighting was heard on the other side. He was going to kill the cunning Tengu himself, but he didn't do it because he heard Nangan Yeo say that she wanted to do it herself and asked him not to interfere. Otherwise, the current cunning Tengu tribe would be destroyed. But he had to intervene in the king level elves nearby. I was thinking about how to get resources, and my brother sent a large batch. Now I don't have to worry about resources. Nangan Yeo lay on the sofa in the hotel, checking the resources in the space ring, and smiled happily. I'll see if there are any things he can use. He saved me this time, so I can't be stingy. While Nangan Yeo was clearing the resources, Zhang Xingyun was eating happily. Zhang Xingyun came to a buffet restaurant, which had many dishes and precious food. There is a new store discount now. Trainers only need 1000 Pokémon coins per person, and the Pokémons are priced by size, ranging from 80,000 to 500,000. After paying the money, they came to a private room, and one by one, food was brought in by Zhang Xingyun and the Pokémons. Now that young Kiris and the others are here, Zhang Xingyun also let them out, without using their ordinary strength. Now he is in disguise again, and he is emitting abilities around him to interfere with other people's sight of him, so that others can't find him. Passers B saw him with two quasi gods and a power user, and they all cast envious eyes. When Zhang Xingyun passed by, Passers B even made way for him. If this combination does not die halfway, it will definitely be a powerful king in the future. Zhang Xingyun also sensed the gazes of Passers B, but he ignored them when he saw that they had no ill intentions. He even thanked them when he passed by and made way for them. After entering the private room, Zhang Xingyun and the elves started eating. There were many dishes, many of which sweetened the elves' tastes, and they were very happy to eat. Especially the young Kiris, who ate a lot without hesitation. His appetite has increased a lot recently, so it was just right for a big meal. Chapter 213 Nangan Yeo's Gift. At 10 o'clock in the evening, Zhang Xingyun walked out of the restaurant, feeling quite full. The young Kiris were now lying in their Pokeballs, digesting their food. Really? Why did you eat so much? I usually eat less than you guys. Is it that serious? The Pokeball on his belt moved a few times, and then it became quiet. With a bang, the engine of the motorcycle started, and then drove towards the rented villa. He was quite full, but it didn't affect his driving. If he wanted, he could lie on the motorcycle and drive with his ability, but it would just attract other people's attention. Find some time to take the driving test. It seems that it's very easy for people with abilities to pass. Now Zhang Xingyun just wanted to go back to the villa and lie down. He was a little full and just wanted to lie on the soft sofa. He soon returned to the villa, brushed his teeth, and went in. After releasing the Pokémon, he took out a drink from the refrigerator and lay down on the big sofa. Comfortable after lying down for a while, he took out a book from the storage space and started reading. Lying on the sofa after a full meal and reading a book was very enjoyable. There is a way to strengthen the metal coating on the body of the giant mantis. It needs to be supplemented in the non-dense area. The book that Zhang Xingyun read was exchanged from the system. It mainly describes the problem of the giant mantis. When Scyther evolves into the giant mantis, the metal coating is needed. In the game, it also needs to evolve through communication, but in reality there is a machine that can assist this evolution. But at the same time, the metal coating needs to be applied to various parts of the body of the Scyther. At this time, there are particularities. This is not a game. It is installed at a click. In reality, it needs to be applied. According to the daily training and habits of Scyther, the proportion of metal coating applied in various aspects is different, and naturally there are several results. Excellent trainers can naturally do perfection, while poorer trainers naturally do worse. The evolution of Pokémon in reality is a big deal for its trainers, and there are still many preparations to be made. But this also refers to trainers who attach great importance to Pokémon. It will not evolve anytime and anywhere like in anime. After improving this aspect and adding other methods, the qualifications of the giant mantis should be improved a lot. It's a pity that the giant mantis is the final evolution type of elves, and it can't rely on evolution to improve its qualifications. The evolution of elves is often the time when the qualifications can be improved the most. Many breeders improve the qualifications of elves at this time. Normally, it can also be done, but the time and resources required are a lot. When Zhang Xingyun was flipping through the books, his cell phone rang. "Hello Xingyun, it's me." "Yeah, I know." The call was from Nangang Yeo. "Are you free now?" "Yes." "Then come out for a while, at the cat cafe." "Oh, okay, I'll be there in a while." After hanging up the phone, Zhang Xingyun took the elf with him, drove the motorcycle, and after navigating, rushed to the cafe. Zhang Xingyun thought that Nangang Yeo probably wanted to see him for something, and he happened to be free now, so he went out to get together. Half an hour later, he arrived at the door of the cat cafe, parked the motorcycle, opened the door, and walked in. "Welcome." "Meow." Several young ladies in cat-style uniforms shouted, and there were several cats with tails facing forward beside them, which was quite adorable. "Sir, do you have an appointment? Or someone else?" "I have an appointment. This coffee shop is quite unique. There are many kinds of cat elves in the hall, accompanying the guests to drink coffee." "Xingyun, here." "Okay." Zhang Xingyun walked to where Nangang Yeo was sitting, pulled out a chair and sat down. "What's the matter with calling me out?" He took the coffee prepared by Nangang Yeo, took a sip, and felt that the taste was okay. "Can't I ask you to come out and get together if I have nothing to do?" Nangang Yeo said, picked up the cup of coffee in front of her, and drank it very elegantly. It can be seen that she has also been trained in this aspect. Looking at Nangang Yeo, who was drinking coffee elegantly, she is now wearing a purple dress, which looks very dignified and elegant, which is a bit different from her usual style. Classmate, you drink so elegantly, it makes me look so rustic. There are only two of us here, don't pretend." Ahem. As if choked, he took out a white cloth to wipe it, and put down the coffee. "This is how to enjoy coffee, okay?" Nangang Yeo was choked and said unhappily. Can't you just drink it directly? Although you look very elegant when drinking it. It's a habit. See what you want to eat." Handing over the menu, he asked. I'm quite full at night, so I won't order. You can order." "Okay then." After ordering a few on the menu, he called the waiter. "Okay, please wait a moment." After the waiter took the menu, he retreated. Zhang Xingyun took out a box from the space, put it in front of Zhang Xingyun, and said, Xingyun, this is for you. It just so happens that your Pidgeot is about to evolve. It can be used. There are other things. It will also help you. No. Zhang Xingyun pushed it back. Although he didn't know what was inside, he heard that it was related to the evolution of Pidgeot. It must be expensive. Take this. It's useful to you, but not to me. Just take it. Besides, I have to thank you for saving my life today. I saved you just by chance. Take it. After refusing several times, Zhang Xingyun accepted it. My desert dragonfly has made a small breakthrough after today. I believe it will reach the elite peak in a few days. Do you want to go with me to find the cunning Tengu? Congratulations, but the elite peak desert dragonfly, even with the giant mantis after my spirit, the chances of winning are not very high. Besides, they also have a tribe of quasi-kings, and there should be no shortage of elite level combat power. Don't worry, I have a trump card and there is absolutely no danger. Do you want to come with me? May I ask what the trump card is? My guardian elf. Oh, that's fine. Hearing Zhang Xingyun say that she has a guardian elf, Zhang Xingyun was relieved. This way, there will be no danger to life. Besides, the tribe of the quasi-kings will not be short of treasures. Even if they get less, it is still a huge profit. This is why Zhang Xingyun agreed to go with them. Let's go in 2 days. I must take revenge this time. Okay. The two chatted again. In the end, Zhang Xingyun saw that it was getting late, so he returned to the villa. After arriving at the villa, he washed up, sat on the big sofa, took out the box that Zhang Xingyun gave him, and looked at what was inside. With her personality, the value of this thing should not be low. Chapter 214 Treasure Skywind. Is this the Skywind recently developed by Langayu Group? Zhang Xingyun picked up a small test bottle filled with golden liquid. Zhang Xingyun saw this on the internet. Skywind is a kind of liquid that Langayu Group has just sold. It can improve the qualifications of flying elves. Although it is not very effective for blue elves, and after use, it will produce drug resistance, and cannot be used multiple times. It is also very fragrant. Is this the feeling of Krypton Gold? She is too generous. Looking at the bottle of golden liquid in his hand, Zhang Xingyun murmured. This bottle is worth tens of millions, and it cannot be bought with money alone. Zhang Xingyun is also a breeder. After using the system to analyze the liquid in the bottle, he can also roughly infer the proportion of the materials used. Zhang Xingyun guessed that this may not be mass-produced because this ratio cannot be replaced by machinery and requires high-level manual production, and the level of the production staff cannot be low. Another is the material problem. These materials are some precious materials, which is also the reason why it cannot be mass-produced. Alas, if this thing is commercialized, the gap between the poor and the rich will widen again. I don't know whether it is a blessing or a curse, although the output is very low. Seeing this bottle, Zhang Xingyun couldn't help but think of his experience in cultivating elves. He spent so much energy to help the elves improve their qualifications, and it also took time, luck and other factors. Now this bottle can make up for it. How can Zhang Xingyun not sigh that no matter where you are, the power of Krypton Gold is strong? Now that Xian Feng has appeared, will similar treasures appear in the future? Besides, the price is so expensive that poor trainers can't afford it. High purity flying crystals. It seems that the evolution of Pidgeot, plus these and what I prepared, is enough. Everything is ready, only the east wind is missing. Hey, why is there a booklet here? After Zhang Xingyun picked up the two treasures, he found a thin little book. After flipping through it, Zhang Xingyun was shocked. This is a high-level energy block, Yuanling. This is too generous. Well, I don't understand the rich woman's mind. Since I've accepted it, I'll make good use of it. Zhang Xingyun flipped through it, and was fascinated by the data inside. The things that need to be considered for high-level energy blocks are more than 10 times more than those for intermediate energy blocks. For energy blocks at the junior high school level, it's just a few thin pages of paper, but this high-level energy block actually has a small book. There are also many complex formulas and some essays in it. Zhang Xingyun looked at it quietly, and now he knew some directions. This is a bit difficult. Just the raw materials are difficult to deal with. Fortunately, I have a system that can be exchanged. I will try a few copies when the time comes. After reading it for a while, he put the booklet away. Once he can make a high level energy block, even the king level strongman will look up to him. Although it is very difficult to make, Zhang Xingyun is confident that, if he fails once, he can make it twice, 3 times, and 4 times. It's just that the cost is a bit high. Pippy Bird, come in for a moment. Pippy Bird flew in from outside and landed beside Zhang Xingyun. It saw the flying energy crystal in the box beside Zhang Xingyun, took a look, turned around, and asked Zhang Xingyun what he wanted to see it for. Pippy Bird, you can see it too. This is a high purity energy crystal. This bottle of reagent can improve your qualifications by a small section. Combined with the resources I prepared for you, there is a high probability that your qualifications can be improved to the blue level. Of course, this is a matter of probability. I know you are also on the verge of evolution. You should adjust your breathing tonight. Tomorrow you will absorb this energy crystal, and you will have a high probability of evolving. Pippy, after listening to Zhang Xingyun's words, Pippy Bird seemed a little excited. The time for its evolution has come, and its strength will also be greatly improved. Okay, go down and adjust your breathing first. If you can evolve successfully tomorrow, I will give you some time to adapt to your evolved body. We will go to the wild to fight in 2 days. Be okay. Young Ji Nado. The elves also came in and congratulated the news that Pidgeot was going to evolve. Everyone, train well. I will also prepare the resources for evolution for you. Kami Betty. After a few words of encouragement, it was getting late, so after washing up, I sat cross-legged on the bed and started practicing. On a tree outside the house, Pidgeot hid on the trunk, looking up at the moon, with a somewhat excited look. It seemed to be excited. If it evolves successfully tomorrow, its strength will reach the elite level, which is higher than the elders in the tribe. If they knew that I was about to advance, they would be very happy. Pidgeot looked at the moon, with a look of nostalgia on its face. After a while, it adjusted its breathing. It has to adjust its state to the best, and get the most benefits in tomorrow's evolution. Hassan on a nearby tree, the giant claw mantis opened its eyes, and looked at the Pidgeot, then closed them again. It felt more and more pressure, especially when it learned that the Pidgeot was going to evolve. It is the strongest in the team now, but it will be different in the future. Besides, its qualifications are not very outstanding compared to the Pidgeot's. Only by training and fighting hard can I maintain my leading position. I can't relax, and I can't let the waves behind beat me to death on the beach. In the second half of the night, Zhang Xingyun, who was sitting cross-legged on the bed, opened his eyes, picked up his mobile phone, and saw that the time was 3:30 in the morning. He simply stopped practicing and lay on the bed to sleep. He fell asleep soon. This time he had a dream, a nightmare. In the dream, he returned to the Kingshu town of that day and saw people coming and going. The town was still the same town, full of lively and peaceful towns. The scene changed, and he saw a middle-aged man with another him, sending an older boy to the car and waving goodbye, and was about to go back. This is the day when the secret realm descends on Kingshu town. The one on the bus is my brother. The 2 people are me and my father. Wait for this moment. Oh no. Run, father. The secret realm is about to descend. Zhang Xingyun hurried forward, wanting to tell his father about the secret realm, but after a loud shout, the scene changed again. In the scene, Zhang Xingyun was followed by Raiden, rushing towards the attacking elves. No. Chapter 215 Pidgeot Evolution. Damn it. You will deserve to die. With a bang, a rumbling sound came from Zhang Xingyun's room. Zhang Xingyun's eyes were scarlet, and the energy on his body twisted the surroundings. The rumbling sound just now was his own subconscious action. It turned out to be a dream. Zhang Xingyun wiped the sweat from his forehead and took a deep breath. No, I need to train more in this area to avoid accidents. After wiping the sweat from his forehead, Zhang Xingyun said secretly. Just now he was a little out of control and broke the bed he slept on. The air-conditioned seats and other things were also destroyed by his supernatural power. Nido nido hasan yaoji yaoji. The elves were frightened by Zhang Xingyun's movements and ran over one after another, caring about Zhang Xingyun. I lost control just now, but now I'm back to normal. I'm fine. Don't worry. Nido nido. It's fine. You guys go down and rest first. Everyone go away. I'll clean up the room and then leave. It's fine. Hearing what Zhang Xingyun said, the elves also left one after another, leaving only Flowery and Electric Beast. They said they would help clean up the house, and Zhang Xingyun naturally agreed. Soon, the room was cleaned up by one person and two elves. Zhang Xingyun walked out of the room. It was 5:30 in the morning. At 5 o'clock in the morning in December, the sky was still grey. He came to the living room, drank a glass of warm water, and watched the three little Kiras sleeping soundly. Through the window, he found the Pidgeot and the giant mantis on the tree trunk, and in a corner, he saw Nidoking huddled together. Nidoking saw Zhang Xingyun looking at him, and stopped training. He stood up, and at Zhang Xingyun's signal, he walked out of the room with him, and sat down at the stone table beside the training ground. Nido, I had a nightmare. I dreamed about what happened in Kingshu Town that day, and I saw my father die in front of me again. Nido hey boo who are Hasenbia's partners, who spend every day together. Nidoking and the others naturally know about Zhang Xingyun's affairs. They all asked to go to Kingshu Town to avenge their training. Kami, you three haven't slept yet. I thought you were asleep. Seeing three little heads sticking out at the door, he came out here, just to see the three little ones sleeping soundly, and he didn't disturb them. Unexpectedly, the three little ones still came out. After chatting with the elves for a while, the sky also brightened up. In the morning of December, the sky also dawned late. Everyone, just do some simple training. I've placed an order on my phone. After breakfast in the morning, I'll go to the elf club and rent a training room for Pidgeot to evolve. After letting the elves train and washing up, he returned to the stone table and sat down. It was still a bit cold in the morning in December. Although Daewon City is in the south of China, this weather has little effect on Zhang Xingyun, who has the ability. The cold wind blew on his face, making him more energetic. Ding dong. Hello, your takeaway has arrived. The doorbell rang, and the voice of the takeaway boy came from outside. It was the breakfast I ordered, and it was the original takeaway boy with Haoli, who was waiting outside the villa. Zhang Xingyun opened the door of the villa. It's you again. You're delivering at this time. There's no way. I want to make more money, but I don't dare to go out hunting in the wild. I can only deliver more takeaways. The unit price in the morning is also higher. Afterwards, Zhang Xingyun also helped to bring the food in and sent the takeaway boy out. Give it a 5-star review. Cool. Okay. After saying that, he closed the door, took out his phone, and gave it a 5-star review. There are many people like the delivery boy who do not rely on hunting in the wild, but work in the city to earn money to buy resources. The money earned in the city is less, but it is safer and there is no danger to life. If you go hunting in the wild, this is not certain. In the eyes of many people, going hunting in the wild is to exchange life for money. They are better off making money quietly and then cultivating elves. Hunting in the wild is also like gambling. The strong will win and take the opportunity to become stronger. The weak will most likely die in the wild. It's just that in this gamble, there are fewer winners and more losers. After breakfast, Zhang Xingyun packed up and took the elves to navigate and rushed to the elf club. The elf club in Daewon City that Zhang Xingyun went to is the same company as the elf club in Changning City, so his VIP can still be used. The reason why I chose to evolve in the elf club was because the energy concentration in the club was high and there were some machines that could assist and the venue was large. Soon, I went through the formalities and came to a spacious training room, which was similar to the one in Changning City. After letting Baby Dragon and the others go for training, I took Pidgeot to an open space on the side, took out the treasures one by one, put them on the ground, and sorted them out. First, I used the warm spring to soak Pidgeot, letting it absorb the neutral and peaceful energy inside, and then took out some other things, and fed them to Pidgeot little by little. I also took out the prepared things and applied them to Pidgeot's 2 wings, claws and beak. After doing it, I observed the condition of Pidgeot and then continued the next step. Pidgeot, absorb this energy crystal. Remember not to evolve all at once. Pidgeot also treated it with great energy. When half of the flying energy crystal was left, the light of evolution shone on Pidgeot's body. But Pidgeot held back all of it. Very good, Pidgeot, come on, drink all of this, and then burst it out in one breath. Zhang Xingyun took out the bottle of Chien Feng that Nangang Yao gave him, and 2 other bottles of liquid. After letting Pidgeot drink a bottle of light yellow liquid first, let it drink Chien Feng, and then drink the last bottle. Zhang Xingyun stood aside, with a green energy coming out of his body, and passing it to Pidgeot. After doing all this, the light of evolution on Pidgeot became brighter. It was like a large luminous ball, emitting light. Pidgeot in the light was also changing its shape, and all parts of its body were getting bigger. The sound coming out was also more mature and deterrent. Pidgeot's voice became louder and harsher, like the cry of a raptor, showing the power of a raptor. The light dissipated, and what appeared in front of Zhang Xingyun was a majestic bird elf, which was the evolved form of Pidgeot. Pidgeot, congratulations, you have evolved into Pidgeot. Chapter 216, Pidgeot. The appearance of Pidgeot is very similar to that of Pidgeot, except that the feathers on Pidgeot's head are yellow and white, and its tail is red. The gorgeous wings can act as a deterrent, and can also blow up a huge storm. The sharp eyes and wide wings all give Pidgeot a kingly demeanor. Pidgeot has a strong flying ability, and it can stir up winds that can bend trees. It also has an incredible flying speed. Pidgeot also has excellent eyesight, and can see 1,000 meters away in the air. Pidgeot stands on the ground, about 1.8 meters tall, far taller than its peers, and its wings are about 4 meters wide, comparable to a small fighter plane. I know that the height of Pidgeot in the game is 1.5 meters, so I made some changes here. But, very good. The Sky Combat power has also been formed, and you have to adjust your training methods. Looking at the majestic Pidgeot in front of him, Zhang Xingyun said with a happy face. Pidgeot lowered his head very docilely, motioning Zhang Xingyun to sit on it, and it would take him flying around. Okay. Zhang Xingyun jumped up and sat on Pidgeot's back, which was quite spacious. Pidgeot carried Zhang Xingyun in this training room and flew around. It was quite stable for the first time to carry people. In the future, when you are in the wild, you can sit on Pidgeot to hurry on the road, instead of gliding plus teleporting. Well, very good. After flying for a while, it landed on the ground. Zhang Xingyun praised it, and then opened the system to check Pidgeot's information. Name, Pidgeot, male, attributes, general, flying qualification, light blue characteristics, sharp eyes strength, elite initial stage skills, peck, flying sand feet, fierce blast, wing attack, ram, anger, lightning flash, air cutting, tornado, shadow clone. The strength naturally came to the elite early stage. In terms of qualification, after Squirtle, it came to blue qualification, which shows that the resources Zhang Xingyun spent are valuable and the method of cultivation is correct. This is also thanks to the 2 treasures sent by Nangang Yao, otherwise it may not be possible to promote the qualification to the blue level. Pidgeot, let's get familiar with the power after the evolution. Pidgeot Zhang Xingyun flew for a while just now. That was just basic operation. Now we need to carry out the combat. Later, Zhang Xingyun used the machine in the training room to test it again, and the effect was very good. He also praised Pidgeot's performance, and put a new sharp bird beak on Pidgeot. The original one was no longer suitable. Your past efforts have not been in vain, and they have all been realized today, but you still have to work hard on training. Now, I will try to train combo skills. Pidgeot now, let's train some basics first, that is, the connection of skills. We have to shorten the time interval between skills to the shortest, so that we have more time to release other skills. Combo skills are actually mixing several skills, to play the effect of 1 + 1 greater than 2. In certain situations, they can burst out with great power, which requires the understanding of the Pokémon and the level of the trainer. You squat on this machine first, and as it rotates, use your skills while keeping rotating. Be very good. It's like a tornado. You do it this way first. After training for a whole morning, Zhang Xingyun was quite satisfied with the progress. It has been able to play a preliminary role, and some details need to be adjusted, but this tornado has already shown its prowess. This combination skill can not only play a role in attack, but also in defense and retreat. This is also a combination skill developed by Zhang Xingyun specifically for Pidgeot, and naturally many factors are taken into consideration. Due to the size and strength of Pidgeot, the power it exerts is not great. Now that it has evolved into Pidgeot, it is just right to train it. The problem of combination skills is not only Zhang Xingyun who can do it, but also talented trainers can do it, as long as there is a way to do it. This also shows the trainer's knowledge reserve and understanding of battle. In the afternoon, Zhang Xingyun trained other Pokémon. The Pokémon were still quite diligent and hardworking, and they all completed the training tasks assigned by Zhang Xingyun 100%. Hey boo, I have also conceived your combo for you. You can train it after you advance. Now with your ordinary late stage strength, the cost effectiveness is not very high. Now train some basics to lay a good foundation for the combo later. Hey boo, after seeing that Nidoking and Pidgeot both had combo skills, Electabuzz also wanted one, but after Zhang Xingyun's explanation, he patiently polished his strength. The combo that Zhang Xingyun conceived for Electabuzz will use a lot of electric energy. With Electabuzz's current strength, it is not very suitable for training. Training some basics is feasible. After instructing Electabuzz for a while, he looked at the training of other Pokémon and saw that Baby Dragon climbed to a high place, jumped down, and hit the stone on the ground. With a bang, the stone was knocked away by Baby Dragon. Baby Dragon patted the dust on his head, looking excited, as if he felt the pleasure of falling in the air just now. Baby dragons have a wish in their hearts, which is to fly into the blue sky. Therefore, many baby dragons often jump off cliffs in the wild to feel the feeling of flying. They use their stiff heads to hit falling obstacles and train the power of their head butts. Zhang Xingyun's baby dragon has a hard head, which makes him look very stubborn. He likes to jump from a high place and hit the ground with his head. This Iron Dragon, Baby Dragon, has completed the training task as required, and Zhang Xingyun doesn't know what to say. Besides, this is also the habit of the Baby Dragon family, and Zhang Xingyun will not change anything. Baby Dragon, do you really want to fly? I'll ask Pidgeot to take you for a few laps. Baby Dragon's eyes lit up when he heard Zhang Xingyun's words, and he immediately ran to Pidgeot, who was resting on the side. Pidgeot, take it flying for a while. It likes the feeling of flying very much. Let it feel it. Yunky, Kami, Yunkiris and the two little ones also appeared after hearing it. They also wanted to experience the feeling of flying. Although they couldn't fly, they saw that the baby dragon was so eager to fly, so they thought that flying would be great. In the morning, they remembered that the third brother Pidgeot had carried Zhang Xingyun for a while. Seeing that Zhang Xingyun was smiling, he seemed to feel great. Can Pidgeot? Pidgeot, that's good. Since the three of them are so interested, let's fly for a while. After getting Pidgeot's reply that it was okay, Zhang Xingyun was relieved. The three little ones together were still not light, especially the young Kiris, but since Pidgeot said it was okay, it was okay. Young Kiris Kami be in the training room. The three little ones sat on Pidgeot's back and shouted excitedly. Zhang Xingyun and Nidoking on the ground also smiled when they saw this. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 217, Zhang Xiaoyu's phone call. At 9 o'clock in the evening, Zhang Xingyun returned to the villa. The bedroom had been repaired and cleaned. When he checked out, it would cost more. After a fulfilling day, Zhang Xingyun sat on the sofa and looked at the cultivation secrets. The voices of Nidoking and others came from outside. They were communicating, and there were also the sounds of young Kiris and others playing. Zhang Xingyun was very satisfied with his current life. After a day of training, he had some leisure time to read books and watch the activities of the elves. Ding dong, Zhang Xingyun's mobile phone rang. He picked it up and saw that it was an unread WeChat message. He opened the WeChat app and saw a message from Zhang Xiaoyu. Sister Xiaoyu is getting married. The message from Zhang Xingyun was a wedding invitation. He clicked on it and saw that it said that the wedding would be held at the Jinlong Hotel in Changning City on January 6th, and Zhang Xingyun was invited to attend her wedding. In the picture in the invitation, Zhang Xingyun was holding a handsome young man and smiling happily. The groom was called Zhang Lin, and the two looked very compatible. After reading the wedding invitation, Zhang Xingyun called, "Is Xingyun busy?" No, I'm sitting down." "Well, have you seen the wedding invitation I sent you? I'm getting married soon. The wedding will be held on January 6th at the Jinlong Hotel. Remember to come." Okay, happy wedding, Xiao. Remember to come. I went to your place to look for you today, but I didn't see you. Aren't you in Changning?" "Yes, I'm in Daewon City now. I will be back in Changning in a few days." "Sister Xiao, don't worry, I will definitely be at your wedding to drink a glass of wedding wine." "That's good. Be careful when you go out. Don't be impulsive. Safety comes first." Okay, Xiaoyan, remember to come for a drink." "No problem." After chatting for a few words, he hung up the phone. January 6th, there are still 8 days. By then I will be back in Changning. Go and attend it then. Zhang Xiao is getting married and has invited him. Zhang Xingyun will naturally attend. Zhang Xingyun still remembers that when he first embarked on the road of becoming a trainer, he received a lot of help from Zhang Xiao, and he was still quite grateful to her. Besides, Zhang Xiao, the big sister next door, had always been nice to him, and they were from the same hometown, so Zhang Xingyun naturally had to attend the wedding. Sister Xiao seems to be only 23 years old. It's not even 2 years since graduation, and she's already married. This marriage is quite early. Looking at the information of the invitation letter on the mobile phone interface, Zhang Xingyun sighed. Zhang Xiao is not engaged in the trainer industry. Although she has raised a few pet elves, she is also an ordinary person. It is normal to get married at this age. After the elves came, many changes have taken place, but for ordinary people, the impact is not much. Those who should study, those who should work, and those who should get married should get married. These are no different from before the elves came. There are also many ordinary students in the senior year of Changning No. 9 Middle School who are not engaged in the trainer industry. The same is true for other schools. This society needs trainers, and it also needs ordinary people to engage in social production. The next day, training was carried out in the elf club again. Watching the elves training in full swing, Zhang Xingyun used the system to deduce advanced energy blocks. In addition to the ratio of the required raw materials, the other problem is his own technique. It is not feasible to use the technique of making intermediate energy blocks to make advanced energy blocks. There are many factors to take into account, not only the production technique, but also the requirements for the machines that assist the team. There are some machines and equipment in the Cultivator Association of Changning City. As a member of the association, Zhang Xingyun can apply for use. It's too difficult. If it weren't for the assistance of the system, these data alone would be enough for me to drink a pot. But this data cannot be ignored. No wonder there are so few advanced cultivators. I admire them. Unlike him, there is a system to assist and make advanced energy blocks by himself. Zhang Xingyun grabbed his hair and sighed. After further research, he stopped and let his brain rest for a while. So much data, even if he is a capable person, it is too much to handle. I have to learn more basics for intermediate breeders. I don't understand some special terms. Zhang Xingyun also felt his own shortcomings. He read books whenever he had time, but the more books he had to read, the less time he had to read cultivation books. It was inevitable that he would not pay attention to some cultivation books, so this problem occurred. This is also a normal phenomenon. Zhang Xingyun walked too fast. With the help of the system and his own supernatural powers, he was able to make intermediate energy blocks in less than half a year. Walking too fast, there will be some places that he did not notice. After checking the time, he asked the young Kiris to take a break. He turned on the big screen TV in the training room and watched it to relax. He turned on the news channel and happened to broadcast the latest invention of the Academy of Sciences. This is a machine that can sense the arrival of space. Good news, good news. The latest research of the Academy of Sciences of my country has made a major breakthrough. A machine that benefits the country and the people has been invented. It is the machine behind me now. Please take a look. The reporter on TV introduced the new invention of the Academy of Sciences. A machine like a radar was displayed on TV. This is a machine that can sense the energy of space 3 hours in advance. It is very useful when facing the arrival of the secret realm of the elves. With this machine, we can have 3 hours to deal with the sudden arrival of the secret realm. Now the staff of the Academy of Sciences have made a batch and are sending them to areas in need across the country, especially counties and towns. In the future, compatriots living in counties and towns will not have to worry about the sudden arrival of elves. Okay, I will introduce it here first. Next, please invite directly of the Academy of Sciences to introduce the use of this heavenly secret machine in depth. A scholar wearing thick glasses appeared on the screen. It was directly who introduced the heavenly secret in depth. What a blessing. It would be great if this was invented earlier. Zhang Xingyun sighed after seeing the news. Like now, this heavenly secret can predict the arrival of the secret realm 3 hours in advance. In this way, the people will have 3 hours to respond, and support can also be taken care of. If there were this Xianji machine in disaster-stricken areas like Zhang Xingyun's hometown Qingshu Town and Lijiang County, there wouldn't have been so many casualties. Chapter 218, Supernatural Breakthrough. Great. This way we can avoid many broken families. It's really an invention that benefits the country and the people. Zhang Xingyun exclaimed. After watching for a while, he continued to train. Zhang Xingyun sat cross-legged on the ground, and the fluctuations of his superpowers fluctuated. After the evolution of Pidgeot, a large amount of energy was fed back into his body, allowing Zhang Xingyun to feel the opportunity for a breakthrough. This breakthrough is the elite level of superpowers, and the skills used will also have a greater effect. The amplification effect of the spirit attachment technique will definitely be enhanced a lot. It's still a little short. Fortunately I'm prepared. Zhang Xingyun sat cross-legged on the ground, opened his eyes, and took out 2 bottles of green liquid from the space. The liquid exuded rich life energy. This was exchanged by Zhang Xingyun in the system, which was very helpful for his own superpower cultivation, especially at this time of breakthrough. Gurgle. After the 2 bottles of reagents were poured into his mouth, the energy fluctuations around his body boiled like hot water. Zhang Xingyun followed the method of cultivation and slowly guided these energies, which slowly flowed in his body. 1 circle, 2 circles, 3 circles. A popping sound, like the sound of a bottle cap being opened, came from Zhang Xingyun's body. It's done. Zhang Xingyun opened his eyes, smiled, and said happily. He carefully felt the changes in his body, and found that there were increases in all aspects. His eyes were shining, and the next moment he appeared at the edge of the training room. He teleported several times in a row, showing no pressure at all, and the distance of teleportation also increased. Not bad. The teleportation is almost more than 100 meters. If the strength is improved, it can move farther. If I encounter an ordinary qua-seeking elf in the wild, I can escape more easily. Looking at the approximate distance of his teleportation, Zhang Xingyun was very satisfied with his ability level. Electric Beast, come here. Hey boo. After hearing what Zhang Xingyun said, the Electric Beast stopped training and walked in front of him. Electric Beast, use your skills to attack me and see how it works. Hey boo, just 70%. Don't use your full strength and see how it works. Hey boo. The 2 distanced themselves and stood on each side, about 10 meters away. Hey boo. Okay, let's get started. Electric Beast flashed with lightning, and after a little accumulation of power, a 100,000 volt attack came over. Ripples appeared in the space around Zhang Xingyun, and then condensed into a spherical protective shield, covering Zhang Xingyun. Kai. The power of 100,000 volts was blocked by the spherical protective shield. Electric Beast, use all your power. Hey boo. A lightning bolt with more power than the previous 100,000 volt lightning struck the protective shield, making a muffled sound, but the spherical protective shield covering Zhang Xingyun remained the same. It just seemed to have dissipated a little. As Zhang Xingyun applied his supernatural power, the protective shield lit up again, and the defensive power seemed to be stronger than before. Then, the electric beast used the skills of electric ball, tile splitting, and lightning fist, and bombarded the shield, but they were all blocked by the shield. It's my turn to attack. Electric beast, are you ready? Hey, the ability that Zhang Xingyun cultivated is not only for defense, but also for attack. After seeing that the electric beast was ready, Zhang Xingyun withdrew the shield and condensed a dozen small white light balls in front of him, which emitted energy fluctuations. Under Zhang Xingyun's control, it flew towards the electric beast. The electric beast saw the flying light ball and felt the power contained in the light ball, so it stretched out its defense. Bang, bang, bang. Under Zhang Xingyun's control, a dozen energy light balls attacked the same position of the defense, shattered the defense used by the electric beast, and attacked its body, pushing the electric beast back a distance. Then, Zhang Xingyun also used other moves in the cultivation secret book to experiment with the electric beast. Zhang Xingyun, who had just been promoted, actually defeated Electabuzz. After letting Nidoking do some experiments, Zhang Xingyun understood his ability level. With his current ability level, he is stronger than the ordinary late-stage Electabuzz, but weaker than the early-stage Elite Nidoking. Of course, this is based on Electabuzz and Nidoking, and they are both excellent elves, and their strength is much stronger than those of the same level. Zhang Xingyun's actual ability level is the Elite level. It is still possible to fight against the early-stage Elite elves. I'm also a humanoid elf, Zhang Xingyun said with a smile. Now, if he wants, he can conquer elves by himself. At least, elves below the elite level can be killed randomly. Zhang Xingyun still remembers the king of Shiba in the anime. It is not an exaggeration to say that he is a humanoid elf. Even a big elf like Onyx can be conquered by his own strength. Onyx's strength seems to be good. In Zhang Xingyun's opinion, it is at least at the level of aqua seeking. This is just speculation. I think the giant Onyx may have the strength of aqua seeking. If I have the chance, I'll try it once, to convince an elf with reason. Zhang Xingyun thought of Hiba, and he felt itchy, and wanted to give it a try. Young G, Kami Bay, the three little ones gathered around, and congratulated Zhang Xingyun. You three should also work hard, and become elites, as soon as possible. After encouraging the three little ones, Zhang Xingyun's phone rang. He picked it up, and it was Nangan calling. I'm fine here, how about yours? Can I go tomorrow? Sure, there's no problem here. My Pidgeot has also evolved into Pidgeot. Thank you for the gift. Glad that I could help you. After chatting for a while, they confirmed the departure time and meeting place for tomorrow and hung up. Train well today, we will go to the wild to participate in actual combat tomorrow. Come on everyone. Hey Booyaji. It's just right to test Pidgeot's strength. Training is also to prepare for hunting in the wild, and hunting is to get resources. On the other hand, actual combat can also quickly improve strength and know one's own shortcomings. Zhang Xingyun then left the training room and rushed to make energy blocks. Make another batch of energy blocks in case of emergency. At 10 o'clock in the evening, Zhang Xingyun returned home. After sorting out his equipment, he took out a book to read. Some of the elves are having fun and resting, while others are still training. Like Nidoking and Pidgeot, they are also doing some basic training after returning home. They also know that they will go to find Cunning Tengu tomorrow, and they are still a little stressed in their hearts. After all, that is a aqua-seeking elf. And the giant claw mantis is next to them, sharing with Nidoking, and the other to the feeling of fighting with Cunning Tengu. Chapter 219 Entering the Forest. The next day, after having breakfast, Zhang Xingyun drove his motorcycle to the agreed place. The agreed place was a gas station in the direction of Daewon City towards Dongjiang County. There are still 5 minutes to 8 o'clock. I'm 5 minutes early. After stopping the car, he took off his helmet and looked around. He didn't see Nangan yet, so he waited. After 2 minutes, a fiery red figure ran towards Zhang Xingyun. Zhang Xingyun looked over and saw that it was Arcanine, with Nangan on its back. Hey, I'm here. Nangan greeted, after jumping off the back of Shenzhen Arcanine. Growlithe has evolved. Seeing Arcanine, Zhang Xingyun also knew that it was Growlithe that had evolved. After scanning it with the system, his qualifications had also increased, and his strength had reached the level close to the ordinary late stage to the peak. Yeah, how about it? I've invested a lot of resources in it. So handsome, I can tell you've carefully cultivated it. Zhang Xingyun praised, and he wasn't lying. The fiery red figure in front of him, his expression, hair, etc., all showed the degree of cultivation. Let's go, take your motorcycle, save the energy of the wind speed dog. No problem, get in the car. Okay. Nangang Yeo put the wind speed dog back into the Pokeball, put it on the belt, and got on Zhang Xingyun's motorcycle. Here, helmet. Thank you. After getting seated, he started the vehicle and rushed towards the direction of the forest. It was morning, and many professional trainers would go hunting in the wild. There was a bit of congestion along the way, but fortunately he was driving a motorcycle, so there would be no traffic jams. You still remember the place, right? After driving for a while, Zhang Xingyun looked at the receding trees. Now he had entered the forest, but there were often people passing by on the road, and the road was still flat, so the motorcycle could still be driven. Well, I've got a rough idea. I can go there, when the time comes, and train my Pokémon. I'll drive a little further, and then we'll rush over. Okay. There was a rustling sound in the grass by the roadside, but there was no other movement. When Zhang Xingyun's motorcycle passed by, there was no attack. It was two little Rattatas, attracted by the engine of the motorcycle. As soon as they arrived, the motorcycle drove past. It was estimated that they couldn't catch up, so they didn't chase. Two little Rattatas. As soon as he left the city, Zhang Xingyun released his mental power and found the two little Rattatas in the grass early. Zhang Xingyun didn't pay attention to them because it was not worth it. After driving for a while, he stopped, put the motorcycle into the storage space, and released the Pokémon. The road was too bumpy, and he saw a few ordinary Pokémon. Kami Squirtle, Baby Dragon, and Youngkirus, come out. Kami B Youngkirus, the three little ones shouted very imposingly as soon as they came out. You look quite energetic. Then, Dratini, you should come out too. Meow Dratini was also called out. The two of them and four Pokémons walked towards the direction of the cunning Tengu tribe. Nangang Yeo only knew the approximate direction, and she still needed to explore it. It was a good time to train her Pokémons. Fierce. After the two walked for a while, more than a dozen Spearows flew over the sky, led by two toucans. Judging from their appearance, they should be going hunting. The two were under the dense trees, and the Spearows did not find them, so they did not come down to attack them. If they came down to attack them, it would be hard to say who would be the prey. Zhang Xingyun's external mental power has a range of about 30 meters. If it is more than that, it will be very troublesome. Originally, he wanted to stop the flying flock of Spearows, but at this time, a group of giant hornets saw them and pounced on them. Zhang Xingyun could only fly the Spearows over and let Squirtle and the others fight. Youngkirus did not use ranged type skills such as sandstorms to take care of the baby dragons. After all, it would affect their combat effectiveness. Baby Dragon is more bellicose. Seeing the Beedrill, he also got excited and rushed to the front. Like a cannonball, with a faint light on his head, he rushed forward. Looking at Baby Dragon's appearance, he can also be said to be a cannonball. With a bang, Baby Dragon knocked an ordinary early Beedrill flying. Then, according to the team battle skills in training, he avoided the poisonous needle of another Beedrill, and a wave of Dragon Wave swept out. Swish, swish, swish boom. Boom. Baby Dragon fought against many Pokémons of the same ordinary level, and was very fierce. Not long after the battle started, several Beedrills lay down, most of which were done by Baby Dragon. Baby Dragon roared. Its butt was pricked by a needle just now, which made it even more irritable. The moves were like free, bombarding wildly, getting more and more fierce, turning into a little Tyrannosaurus, and outputting at full power. The Beedrill that was approached by Baby Dragon was directly knocked down by the irritable Baby Dragon. Although Baby Dragon was a little irritable, his attack was still very methodical. Be his soon, Baby Dragon and a Beedrill were the only ones left on the field fighting, with the Youngkirus and the others flanking the battle, and more than a dozen Beedrills lying on the ground. Baby Dragon's eyes glowed red as he approached the Beedrill. This Beedrill was a late normal Beedrill, reserved for baby dragon in the early normal stage. With a ding, it was the sound of the Beedrill's gun being fired at baby dragon's head. Under the effect of the reverse scale, baby dragon received a lot of amplification, and he suppressed the Beedrill tightly. Baby dragon did not lose his wits because of the use of the reverse scale, and there was a faint light on his body, which was blessed by Zhang Xingyun's ability. This ability allowed baby dragon to remain rational when using the reverse scale. With Zhang Xingyun's current ability level, it is easy to bless baby dragon in the early normal stage. Bang, the whole body of the Beedrill was knocked away by the baby dragon, followed by a dragon's fury, a headbutt, and finally a flame fang. After a set of skills, the Beedrill also lay on the ground, losing its ability to fight. After the battle, the baby dragon's strength was gone, and it felt the pain on its body. It turned its back to Zhang Xingyun and the elves, baring its teeth, but the sound of its roar was not empty at all. Young Kiris and the others admired the bravery of the baby dragon just now, and cheered behind him. Zhang Xingyun, who was behind, naturally knew what the baby dragon looked like. After all, his external elf power could sense the surroundings. Your baby dragon's self-esteem is a bit high, Nangang Yeo said to Zhang Xingyun with a smile. Zhang Xingyun could know it, and Nangang Yeo, who was also a power user, also knew it. Well, baby dragon is more concerned about face, which is understandable. Zhang Xingyun replied. As the trainer of baby dragon, he must know baby dragon very well. Chapter 220 Arbok. After putting away the giant hornets, Zhang Xingyun took out medicine and applied it to several Pokémons. There were about 10 giant hornets in that group, and there were quite a few ordinary ones. After the battle, they were all injured to some extent. Meow, thank you. Nangang Yeo thanked. No, this is nothing. Several Pokémons were treated by Zhang Xingyun, and now he had just treated Dratini. Nangang Yeo also knew Zhang Xingyun's level, so she asked Zhang Xingyun to help, and she helped out. She knew how to handle it, but the effect was still a little worse than Zhang Xingyun, so she simply let him do it. Zhang Xingyun's hands and feet were very fast, and only baby dragon was left to be treated. Now he was taking medicine to treat baby dragon. Baby dragon, relax, we are all friends. There is no need to do this. Benny, don't I know your situation? Okay, turn your butt over. It's all purple. It's numb now. Let me treat it for you. Baby dragon turned around and let Zhang Xingyun treat it. In the melee just now, baby dragon accidentally got stabbed in the butt by a giant bee. Now the wound on the butt is purple and numb. Well, you need to apply ointment on this wound. Baby dragon refused when he heard it. This was not in line with his image. Think about it, he was fighting, and then his opponent saw the ointment on his butt. How could he accept this? And what would his companions think? Baby dragon didn't want to save face. Well, after the treatment of your wound, it will take at most an hour to recover. Don't you want to? Betty, okay, then, I'll let Oed come out to help you treat it. It should be able to shorten the time. Betty Oed, come out and help baby dragon treat the wound. Oed looked at baby dragon's wound, and with a smile, used healing waves to treat baby dragon. Baby dragon was also a little embarrassed, but after seeing that the young Kiris didn't notice it, he ignored it. It's okay to lose face in front of Oed, but don't lose face in front of young Kiris. Let's go. Okay, after dealing with it, seeing that the elves have recovered a little, they continued to set off. The resources in the forest are still very rich. Not long after the two walked, they saw a lot of tree fruits. Among them was the cherry fruit that Zhang Xingyun wanted. The guardian elves of these fruit trees were not very strong, with only ordinary combat power. Young Kiris Kamimi, the four elves also rushed up under the orders of Zhang Xingyun and Nangang Yeo. The elves guarding the fruit trees were the insect elves Maokyu and Moth. It was just that a few moths were a little difficult to fight, but they were also dealt with by young Kiris, and became trophies soon, and the fruit they guarded was also collected by Zhang Xingyun. Zhang Xingyun and the others' behavior was normal. Reality is not as ideal as anime. Besides, this fruit tree might have been robbed by moths from other elves, so it's not certain. Baby dragon picked up a fruit and sniffed it. It was very suitable for its appetite. It asked Zhang Xingyun if it could eat it. After getting Zhang Xingyun's answer, it began to eat it. This cherry fruit was suitable for baby dragon's appetite. Baby dragon ate it very happily and shared a few with young Kyrus. Young Kyrus saw baby dragon like this and also took one to eat. The mini dragon felt that it was delicious, but the young Kyrus felt that it was just okay. When it comes to eating fruit, each elf has its own taste. What suits baby dragon may not suit young Kyrus. Well, it's quite fresh. I don't have to buy it. I saved some money, Zhang Xingyun said while looking at the fruit in his hand. This fruit can turn into energy cubes in the hands of you breeders. It's really magical. If it were in my hands, I would only let the elves eat it directly and sell the rest. Nangang Yeo said. Do you want to learn? I can teach you. It's not difficult to learn this with capable assistance, Zhang Xingyun said. He was telling the truth. In this regard, people with supernatural powers have an advantage. As for theoretical knowledge, it's not a big problem for Nangang Yeo to learn it. Thank you. Let's talk about it when there's a chance. Yeah. After packing up a little, they continued to set off. The two were very leisurely, like going on an outing. The dangerous places in the eyes of others were just like that in their eyes. But at the level of ordinary elves, if you encounter elite ones, you have to take it seriously. While rushing to the cunning Tengu tribe, you can train the elves and collect resources. It is also very feasible. The two can also ride flying elves to rush over quickly, but there are also many flying elves in the cunning Tengu. If they fly over, there will definitely be a lot of trouble, and their combat power in the air is only Desert Dragonfly and Pidgeot. In addition to training the elves, they choose to walk. Anyway, there is no rush. The cunning Tengu can escape the monk, but not the temple, and they will always return to the tribe. In the past few days, with the cunning Tengu of the Qua-seeking level here, the chance of their tribe being destroyed is very small. After the two walked a long way, they encountered the elves that attacked them again. The elf that attacked them this time was an elite level Arbok. It had just ambushed in the nearby bushes, curled up, waiting for prey. And the passing Yunkerus and others were prey in the eyes of Arbok. Arbok sensed that there were only 4 elves, all of ordinary level, and 2 humans, Zhang Xingyun and Nangang Yeo. If you think about it this way, 4 ordinary elves plus 2 humans with such strength, this is a sure prey in the eyes of Arbok. Zhang Xingyun had already sensed the location of Arbok's ambush, and reminded the elves. So they were not ambushed in Arbok's sneak attack just now. Arbok's sneak attack did not have the effect it expected, but it didn't matter much. It had been hunting for so long, and it was not that it had not encountered it, but it was just a little more cautious. This time, at most, the 4 Pokémons were just being cautious. In the past, when it encountered ordinary Pokémons, even if it was cautious, what would it matter? It would still swallow them up and become its nutrients. Now, 4 ordinary Pokémons, no matter how cautious they were no different from one cautious Pokémon. For an elite Pokémon like Arbok, wouldn't it be easy to deal with such a Pokémon? Fuck. Arbok stood up, using the patterns on its body and its ferocious face to intimidate the young Kyrus and the others. Bang, bang, bang. The young Kyrus and the others would not tolerate it. They were not afraid. Rockfall, Water Wave, Dragon's Fury, Dragon Wave, all fell over. For a while, Arbok was beaten to a pulp. PS. 3 updates today. Please give good reviews. Please urge for more videos. Please use love to generate electricity. Chapter 221. Deep into the forest. Fuck. Arbok roared and fired dense poison needles at the 4 Pokémons, and then rushed over at a very fast speed. Camistottle stepped forward and used his body to block Arbok's tail. Fuck. Arbok opened his fangs and bit Stottle, but Stottle also retreated into his shell and avoided being bitten by the hard shell. Arbok bit it and found that Stottle's shell was very hard and his teeth were a little painful, so he pretended to bite again. Bang! Arbok's head was hit by several flying mud balls, which were thrown by young Kyrus. Baby dragon stretched out its hard head and rushed over. The electromagnetic waves of Dratini in the sky also came. Fuck. Arbok gave up Stottle, the coward, and used his head hammer to hit Baby Dragon. After the collision, Baby Dragon was knocked into the air like a kite with a broken string, and fell to the ground, his head buzzing. Baby dragon now sees a sky full of stars, and the dragon is a little confused. Young Kyrus uses its sand control ability to wrap the stunned baby in the sand. Cammy Squirtle took this opportunity to escape, and after a wave of missiles, he used the water gun to distance himself. Then he cooperated with the mini Dratini in the air and used the freezing ray together. Crap Arbok fired his poisonous mud bombs and suppressed Squirtle and mini Dratini. Baby dragon also slowed down and used sparks. Young Kyrus used the sand control ability to condense the flying sand into a solid fist and smashed it. The attacks of the 4 Pokémon came from different directions. There was only one Arbok, and he couldn't resist it at once, and was hit by multiple attacks. Crap Arbok was very angry, roared, and rushed towards Baby Dragon. Young Killus flew up a sandstorm again, wrapping up Baby Dragon in it. Arbok, who entered the sandstorm, couldn't find Baby Dragon for a while. After breaking the sandstorm with brute force, Young Killus and Baby Dragon appeared somewhere else. Another round of skills came, and he could only defend himself. When Arbok attacked, the 4 Pokémon would attack at the same time, leaving scars on it every time. After too many times, Arbok couldn't bear it. If it wanted to attack, Baby Dragon and Young Killus would delay it as before. Squirtle had a strong defense, and it would take time to break through this defense, and it would also be attacked. Dratini was in the air, and it was also a very agile Pokémon. Bang, bang, bang. Another round of attacks came, and the smoke and dust dissipated, revealing Arbok's somewhat embarrassed figure. Fuck, this was different from what it imagined. It seemed that it was just being beaten. The 4 Pokémon cooperated with each other tacitly, and it had to hurt it from time to time. After shouting loudly and attacking once more, it was the same as the previous times, and Arbok wanted to retreat. Forget it, these 4 elves are a bit weird, and I can't control them, so I'd better retreat. My injuries are getting worse, and if it goes on like this, it will be a bit dangerous. There are more than just these 4 elves in the wild that can be hunted, and there are many more. There is no need for Arbok to waste time when the chance of winning is extremely low. Then Arbok wants to run away. Seeing Arbok's appearance, Zhang Xingyun said, I didn't expect that 4 ordinary level elves could make the elite level Arbok so embarrassed. If we give them time, it might not be a bad idea to leave it alone. Nangang smiled and looked at the 4 elves on the field, saying with pleasure. Nangang also saw the performance of the 4 elves, and the cooperation was pretty good. Well, they are all excellent elves, so it's not surprising that they have such a record. I'll help them, otherwise the Arbok will run away. Zhang Xingyun's eyes were shining, and he made a mysterious gesture, condensing a space to stop the Arbok who wanted to escape. Young Kyrus and the others are very excellent elves, with excellent qualifications and skills. They have also received a lot of training. It is normal for the 4 elves to be able to fight like this. But now, if this Arbok wants to run, the 4 of them can't stop it. Zhang Xingyun stopped the Arbok and let it continue to fight with the elves. This is a very suitable opponent, a very good tool snake. Zhang Xingyun doesn't want to end it so hastily. Fuck, the Arbok snake tried many times, but it was like hitting a wall when it ran. It tried many times and hit it several times, but it couldn't escape. Young Kyrus's attacks also arrived. Seeing that the Arbok couldn't escape, they also knew the reason. Amazing. I didn't expect your spatial ability to reach this level. You are an elite, right? As soon as Zhang Xingyun made a move, Nangang knew it, and said with admiration. Yes, the energy fed back by the evolution of Pidgey had helped me break through, and my spatial ability has also reached a higher level. I believe you can do it too. Zhang Xingyun replied. Well, I have to work harder. Now I can't even teleport far. My spatial talent is really not as good as yours. The Arbok on the field realized that it couldn't run away. The young Kyrus were pressing forward step by step, and it also went crazy. It rushed up and attacked crazily. For a while, it was the turn of the young Kyrus to be unable to resist, but it stabilized and caused damage to the Arbok little by little. Time passed for a long time, and Zhang Xingyun and Nangang were both staring at the battle on the field. Fuck, the Arbok wailed, and fell to the ground with blood all over his body. Then there was another round of attacks, and the Arbok completely lost its ability to fight. Yaoji Kami Bei Me, the 4 little ones cheered. They actually defeated Arbok. With ordinary strength, they defeated the elite Arbok. Although Zhang Xingyun helped them, it was not important. The 4 little ones also had many wounds on their bodies. They also suffered a lot of attacks in Arbok's crazy attack just now. The 4 elves cheered, as if they did not feel any pain. Well done, I'll take care of it for you. Zhang Xingyun moved instantly and appeared on the field. He took out the medicine from the space and applied it to the 4 elves. After applying the medicine, he took it back into the elf bowl and let them rest. They have reached the amount of exercise. It's good to be moderate. Too much will have the opposite effect. It's also considering that elite level elves have appeared here. With their strength, they are not very suitable. Nidoking, Pidgeot, Flourisher, and Electabuzz, come out. I'll leave it to you next. Nidopai. Nangongyeo also sent her elves to follow her, and the two walked towards the inside of the forest again. Chapter 222 Encountering a Swarm of Beedrills. Is this the right direction? Zhang Xingyun pointed in a direction and asked. Yes, it's this direction. Nangongyeo looked at the direction, nodded and said. The two had been walking for more than half an hour. They encountered several waves of elves attacks along the way, but they were dealt with by the elves around them in the first time. It's 10:30 now. Are you tired? If you are tired, take a rest. Zhang Xingyun looked at the time and suggested. Okay, then take a rest. Time is still passing quickly. It's 10:30 now. The two found a suitable place and sat down. Nidoking and the others took turns to be on guard and rest. Zhang Xingyun leaned against the tree trunk and drank water. With our strength, this is the limit in the areas outside the forest. When we reach the level of heavenly king, won't there be more places to go at will? Zhang Xingyun wiped his mouth and said. The strength of the king is indeed like this. The stronger the strength, the more comfortable the life will be. It is the same wherever you go, but you must also remain cautious. There are still many accidents in the wild. Nangongyeo tore open a candy, ate it, and handed one to Zhang Xingyun. Yeah, that makes sense. If you go deeper, it will not be easy. They are all elite level elves. Zhang Xingyun took the candy, threw it into his mouth, and chewed it. So far, the two of them have encountered attacks from 2 elves, both lone rangers, and were captured soon. The two rested for a while, and during this time, they also gave the elves energy blocks. I don't know when they can rest next. Let's go. We have to be more careful. Yeah, I know. My mental power has always been maintained at 20 meters. Awesome. It's much farther than the distance I can sense. The two took the elves and started moving again. Walking in the dense forest, there were layers of fallen leaves under their feet. The newly fallen green leaves and the withered yellow leaves were piled up in several layers. The trees here are particularly dense, and the trunks are also thicker. There are often elves hiding in the lush leaves. Zhang Xingyun sensed them as soon as they got close. Pidgeot flew up and pounced, and soon took down this ordinary late-stage ambusher. A buzzing sound came from a distance. It was the sound of a giant bee flapping its wings. This also attracted the attention of the two, so they went up. On a lush tree, in a place with a good view, the two took a telescope and observed. In the sight, a group of giant bees appeared. In the middle of them, there was a beehive as big as a small house. Several giant bees went in and out. There were also many giant bees guarding the beehive. Under the big tree there were also many iron pupae and unicorns. Some were sleeping, some were eating, and some were in an open space, basking in the sun. The strength of this group is not weak, Zhang Xingyun said, after taking a general look. From the telescope, several very strong giant bees flew by. With Zhang Xingyun's eyesight, he could naturally see that they were giant bees with elite strength. Well, they are not strong enough, and they cannot occupy so many resources and territories. Even horned beetles can eat the flesh and blood of elves. Nangongyeo observed the appearance of the Beedrill colony through the telescope. There are a lot of insect-type elves such as Beedrill and Butterfree in the forest. Generally, the strength of insect-type elves is relatively weak, but there are also strong ones. When the number is large, there will always be elves with high qualifications. After the strength is enhanced, they also lead the colony to develop. The probability of high qualifications is not high, but the base number is large, and the number will not be small. The Beedrill colony in front of the two is considered a very powerful colony. Up to now, there are a total of 6 elite Beedrills. There should be some in the hive. It is conservatively estimated that there are 10. How do you say this? Zhang Xingyun analyzed, while looking at the Beedrill colony with a telescope. My Sand Dragon and Gardev were our 2 elite forces. Arcanine and Tanabata can be counted as 1 elite force, but the others don't count. My Nidoking, Pidgeot, and Scyther are 3 elite forces. Flora and Electabuzz can also be counted as 1 elite force. Scyther is stronger, and can be counted as 2 elite forces, and your Sand Dragon is also. There is still some work to do this. After analyzing their strengths, they found that there was still some work to do, so they both decided to do it. They could train their elite Pokémon, increase their combat experience, and gain something. This was very feasible. The two started chatting about how to attack and some details. After chatting for a while, they decided and took action. Ziziahornworm was leisurely sucking blood and flesh, feeling the warmth on his body, which was very good. His several giant hornets were also standing guard lazily on the side. Suddenly, a human appeared on the tree of the tribe, and many elves appeared, and they launched several powerful attacks as soon as they appeared. Boom boom boom. This sudden attack caught them off guard, and for a moment, many Beedrills lost their ability to fight. There was also an elite Beedrill that was focused on as soon as it appeared. Before it could use its skills, it was attacked and lay on the ground with dizzy eyes. Hiss from the hive and other places. Several powerful auras rushed over. 2 elite late stage monsters will be interesting this time. Nangong, I will deal with the 2 elite late stage monsters and 2 early stage monsters. The others will be left to you. Is that okay? Zhang Xingyun shouted to Nangong Yeo on the other side. No problem. Nangong Yeo replied. The fierce battle started. The giant claw mantis naturally faced one of the elite late stage Beedrills, while Pidgeot and Nidoking faced one of the elite late stage monsters. Flowery and Electabuzz each faced an elite level Beedrill. Hey boo Electabuzz seemed very excited and quickly pounced over, quickly laying out the electromagnetic field, using the electric energy to increase its speed, and after getting close, it used its Fire Fist. Electabuzz's fierce attack also suppressed the elite level Beedrill. Several vine whips emerged from around Flowery Petal and attacked Beedrill. As soon as Beedrill, who was fighting with Flowery Petal, made a move, the sound of Hua came to its ears. This sound was full of charm, and it was a little addicted to it for a while. Hiss, the sound of several whips hitting, made Beedrill feel pain, and the pain in its body also brought Beedrill back to its senses. This was a green ball that appeared in its eye socket. Bang! Beedrill was blown away by Flowery Petal's energy ball and retreated several steps. Chapter 223 Request for Battle. For a moment, on the ground of the Beedrill colony, the sound of skills colliding, screams of the wounded, and explosions caused quite a stir. Nidoking and Pidgeot cooperated with each other, one on the ground and the other in the sky, to attack Beedrill in a double position. His Beedrill rushed out of the diffuse smoke and raised his hand to use missile needles to fight back. The missile needles fired by the late stage Beedrill of the elves were really powerful, and the multi-layer earth wall condensed by Nidoking was shattered. Now Nidoking has been possessed by Zhang Xingyun and blessed by the life orb. His strength is not weaker than that of the mid-elite elves. Together with Pidgeot in the sky, he almost suppressed Beedrill. This is also the effect of Zhang Xingyun's special cultivation. Nidoking is equipped with a lot of skills. Nidoking can comprehend those that he can comprehend on his own, and Zhang Xingyun also bought skill balls for it to practice those that he can't. So now Nidoking has developed very comprehensively and has a very large attack range. Nidoking, Cold Spike. Combo skill. Mentioned earlier, a dozen sharp stones protruded from Nidoking's feet, and a stream of cold air swept past, making people feel cold. Nidoking stomped the ground, used special skills, and shot over Pidgeot, Tayfeng, and Bravabird. Nidoking, pay attention. I will use instant teleport and use Fire Fist when you get over there. Pidgeot. Nidoking's burly body suddenly appeared next to Beedrill, which had just suffered from the cold spike skill. He grinned at Beedrill, raised his hand, and hammered Beedrill into the air. Even though Beedrill was a late stage Pokémon, it was also hammered into the air when Nidoking got close. When Beedrill was knocked away by Nidoking, it used its wings to stabilize its figure in the air. there was a huge fist-shaped burnt mark on its body, which was left by Nidoking's fire fist. Before it could breathe a sigh of relief, Pidgeot's attack arrived. The current brave bird of Pidgeot is more powerful than the brave bird of Pidgeot's time. With a loud bang, Pidgeot took off again. It had not attacked Beedrill just now. His Beedrill appeared 10 meters away, raised its glowing double guns, and in a flash, stabbed Pidgeot in the air. Pidgeot also found the rapidly attacking Beedrill, and its wings turned into the color of steel, crossing in front of its body. Pidgeot used the steel wings to block Beedrill's attack, and with the help of Beedrill's attack thrust, it took off. Beedrill's attack was still strong. After Pidgeot flew up, it landed on a tree trunk, its wings shaking a little. The power of Beedrill's attack just now was still quite strong. This Beedrill can actually move at high speed, and it made Pidgeot suffer this loss. It's quite interesting. Beedrill appeared next to Nidoking again, raised its double guns, and chopped down. Nidoking also hit back, but this time it was not Pidgeot. Standing on the ground, it had infinite strength. After a stalemate with Beedrill, it sent Beedrill flying. A jet of flame blew over. 3 o'clock, destruction ray. After the jet of flame, the destruction ray was used. Just as Zhang Xingyun predicted, Beedrill appeared at 3 o'clock, and was hit by the powerful destruction ray, and fell to the side. Pidgeot also recovered at this time, flapped its wings and took off, with an energy coat all over its body, diving towards Beedrill. After a loud bang, the smoke and dust dissipated. Beedrill had lost its ability to fight and lay on the ground, unconscious. On the other side, after a few combos, Mantis also solved Beedrill. This is much easier. The Mantis that was released will participate in other battles. It soon calmed down. Many Pokémon escaped in the melee, but many were also defeated. During the battle, several beehives were also damaged. After killing several elves who only thought of the yellow bird, Nidoking and the others were on guard and cleaned up the battlefield. After taking down an elite tribe, the harvest was very much. Now Zhang Xingyun and Nangang took out the container and used their supernatural powers to break down the huge beehive into pieces, put them into the container, and then put them into the space. It's really sweet. Nangang tore off a small piece of honey, put it in her mouth, and tasted it. This is made by an elite level giant bee. It must be sweet. This also contains some energy. You should feel it. I feel it. It took a long time to clean up the battlefield, collect all the harvests, and put them into the space. Find another place, rest for a while, and continue to set off. It was 12 o'clock in the afternoon, and the two were still walking. After taking down the giant bee tribe, they also dealt with several attacking elves. Now the place where they are is close to the tribe of Cunning Tengu. Because they saw several acorns and long-nosed leaves appearing, they were getting close to the Cunning Tengu. Zhang Xingyun and Nangang put away the elves, used their supernatural powers to cover up their breath, and sneaked in. Zhang Xingyun had a breath-suppressing device on him, and so did Nangang. The two of them used their supernatural powers to cover up their abilities and sneak in. With the help of these peripheral elves, they could not be discovered. Even elite elves would not be able to find them so easily. It is possible that it was the Cunning Tengu, but with the strength of the Cunning Tengu, it should be the tribe leader or a person with a very high status in the tribe, and it would not stand on the periphery. There is only one Cunning Tengu at the Qua-seeking level, right? Zhang Xingyun communicated with Nangang telepathically. It should be. At that time, there was only one Cunning Tengu attacking me. If there were two attacking me, I would not be able to escape. Nangang thought about it and said slowly, well, in that case, there is only one Qua-seeking level Cunning Tengu, but I don't know how many elite ones there are. Don't worry, no matter how many there are, I will definitely avenge its pursuit today. Nangang said bitterly. She almost died at the hands of the Cunning Tengu. She brought a guardian spirit with her today, and she was not afraid, even if they're working level spirits. Well, it's good to be sure. I want to tell you something. What is it? Tell me. If there is only one Qua-seeking level spirit like the Cunning Tengu, let me fight it first, and sharpen Nidoking and the others. After listening to it, Nangang was silent for a while and responded, okay, I'll be on the side to help you. Thank you. You're welcome. This kind of opportunity is not common. Seeing Nangang Yeo so confident this time, it must be almost no danger. It can let Nidoking and the others get sharpened. If he goes to find the Quasi-King level spirits himself, the risk is still quite large. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 224, Sneaking In. While the two were talking telepathically, they walked quickly and sneaked in without disturbing the elves here. There are a lot of resources in this place. There are a lot of tree fruits alone. It's normal. After all, there are few resources, and there won't be Quasi-King level elves. The place where the two were located was already closer to the interior of the forest. The forest was originally called Dangmu Forest. The place was originally large, and after the advent of the secret realm, the area was expanded, making it even larger. It can be said that, if you go directly in one direction, and pass through this Dangmu forest, you can also reach Changning, but this will be very dangerous. Like Changning's Yangxing forest, this Dangmu forest also has king level elves. With the current strength, you don't have the ability to pass through the woods, so you can only take the road you often take. After all, there is an army to maintain it, so safety is still guaranteed. ZHU as the two went deeper, the cunning Tengu also appeared. The two saw the cunning Tengu eating tree fruits in a bush. Zhang Xingyun used the system to scan. The qualifications of these cunning Tengu were not very high. Although they had sufficient resources and evolved into cunning Tengu, their strength was only at the ordinary level. The deeper they went, the higher the qualifications of the elves they encountered. They saw many green qualified long nose leaves. The strength of this tribe was still good. The two stopped in an inconspicuous corner. They could not move forward anymore. They were deep enough. First observe and see where the Quasi-King level cunning Tengu was, so as to facilitate the next action. Do you see the cunning Tengu with herbs? That's it. I defeated it, and then I was chased by the cunning Tengu. Zhang Xingyun looked over and found a cunning Tengu with herbs among several cunning Tengu. This cunning Tengu has a high status in the tribe. Many cunning Tengu are surrounding it, as if taking care of it. Long nose leaves are holding tree fruits and some flesh and blood, waiting by the side. When they saw that the cunning Tengu wanted to eat, they handed it over. The cunning Tengu is having a good life. Zhang Xingyun used the system to scan it and found that the cunning Tengu's qualifications are not low. It is a light green qualification, and it is about to turn into dark green. No wonder it has such a high status in the tribe. If there are sufficient resources, the probability of being promoted to the king level in the future is still not small. Zhang Xingyun released his spirit power and explored the surroundings to see where the cunning Tengu is, but he didn't find it. Could the Quasi-King level cunning Tengu go hunting? Why didn't we find it? Zhang Xingyun released his spirit power to check, but didn't find it. It's possible. Nangang Yeo said. She also explored and didn't find it. Then let's start now. Okay, I'll start attacking those on my left in 10 seconds. Okay, those on my right come by surprise. I guess I can knock out a few of them, or at least seriously injure them. The ones on the right are the elite level cunning Tengu that Nangang Yeo encountered before. On the left, Zhang Xingyun found 8 elite level cunning Tengu. Through telepathy, he gave instructions to the giant mantises, telling them to use the most powerful moves in the sneak attack and not to hold back. With a loud bang, the battle started when the cunning Tengu were relaxed. There were 2 elite early stage cunning Tengu lying on Zhang Xingyun's side. Perhaps they were used to a leisurely life, and they did not react to the sneak attack for a while, so Zhang Xingyun took down the 2 cunning Tengu in a short time. The probability of sneak attack does not exist for the cunning Tengu. Their tribe is the overlord of the surrounding area. There are Quasi-King cunning Tengu, and they have not been attacked for a long time. Hey, this comfortable life has been too long, and this elf is also useless. ZHU seeing their companions being attacked, the cunning Tengu roared and launched the attack. Nidoking, hold on. Mantis, target the late stage elite. Pidgeot, target the 2 early stage elites. Electabuzz, hold the remaining ones. Zhang Xingyun sent out all the Pokémons and made all the arrangements. Mantis, like a flash of red lightning, directly confronted the late-stage elite cunning Tengu. After being possessed by a spirit, it was even more powerful. With the attribute restraint, I believe it will be able to be defeated soon. Vegeta fanned up a strong wind and stopped the cunning Tengu. Then a brave bird swooped down. With a bang, an explosion sounded. Vegeta quickly took off again, and then used Swallow Return. With a cold light flashing on its claws and beak, it pounced on the cunning Tengu. Vegeta used its agility to avoid the energy ball and seed machine gun of the cunning Tengu, and attacked the cunning Tengu from the side. ZHU the cunning Tengu screamed. It seems that Pidgeot's attack this time was not bad. Then, more than 10 air blades slashed down, attacking seamlessly. Vegeta used the advantage of flying and attribute restraint to launch the most intense attack on the two early stage cunning Tengu from the beginning. While attacking the two cunning Tengu, he also dealt with a lot of long nose leaves that came to support. Youngkillus activated the sandstorm and with its sand control ability, cooperated with Baby Dragon and Stottle to fight against a group of long nose leaves. Zhang Xingyun was also directing the battle to prevent the three little ones from having accidents. Youngkillus used the sandstorm to disrupt their vision, and then took the opportunity to attack with Rock Collapse, which was quite effective. After Stottle rushed into the group, he used the defensive advantage of its turtle shell, and swung his freezing fist with great force. Stottle Ice Ring Tactics. Stottle sent a water wave to the ground, filling the surrounding ground with water stains, leaned over the ground, and spun with its turtle shell as the center point, releasing freezing rays. Sizzle, sizzle, a layer of ice quickly formed on the ground. Some of the long-nosed leaves jumped onto the tree trunks to hide, but several were frozen. Kamikame Stottle slid off the ice, his fists still emitting cold air, and quickly rushed towards the long-nosed leaves whose feet were frozen. The long-nosed leaves on the tree trunks wanted to rescue them immediately, but they were stopped by the rocks that fell on them. Baby Dragon was also very brave, with Flame Fang plus Headbutt plus Dragon's Fury, which directly carried away several Pokémons, but the injuries were inevitably increased. Baby Dragon felt that this little pain was nothing, and it would make it attack more crazily. Youngkillus was among them, like a turret, throwing out pieces of rocks, and at the same time supporting his teammates while attacking. There were also several long-nosed leaves approaching Youngkillus, but they were all repelled by Youngkillus. Chapter 225, Angry Cunning Tengu. ZHU Mantis and Cunning Tengu exchanged blows, retreated a step, and accelerated to the back of Cunning Tengu. The alloy claws were used instantly and slashed forward. Puff at this moment, Cunning Tengu also took the opportunity to use his shadow clone and narrowly avoided Mantis alloy claws. Hassan Mantis increased its speed again. Puff puff puff. Cunning Tengu's shadows on the field were scattered one after another, and soon Mantis found its true form. Cross scissors slashed forward. ZHU Cunning Tengu used rock crushing to counterattack, and after a stalemate with Mantis, he was repelled. On the way back, a real energy bomb was fired at Mantis. Bang! The real energy bomb was dodged by Mantis and hit behind where Mantis had just stood, blowing up several large trees. Hassan Mantis used high-speed movement, like an arrow from a bow, and shot at Cunning Tengu. Bang, bang, bang. Approaching the Cunning Tengu, they used high-speed stars and alloy claws one after another to attack the Cunning Tengu. ZHU the Cunning Tengu panted and questioned the giant claw mantis why it attacked its home, and told it that their leader was a Qua-seeking level strongman, and asked the giant claw mantis to leave now. The giant claw mantis didn't waste time talking to it, and started fighting again. ZHU Zu Hassan the two elves fought more and more fiercely, and the giant claw mantis had the upper hand. The Cunning Tengu could only defend himself, and the occasional counterattacks seemed very weak. Boom. The Cunning Tengu was hit head-on by the giant claw mantis's grating cannon, and fell to the ground. The giant claw mantis jumped up, closed its claws, and fired an orange-yellow destructive death light, ending the Cunning Tengu. After a brief look, he rushed to other battle places amid Zhang Xingyun's shouts. On the other side, Vegeta also defeated the remaining Cunning Tengu, flapped its wings, and flew to support. The two Pokémons, Mantis and Pidgeot, who were freed up, dealt with the opponents of young Kiris under the arrangement of Zhang Xingyun. Electabuzz and Florady worked together to deal with an elite level Cunning Tengu, while Nidoking dealt with two Cunning Tengu, one in the middle elite stage and the other in the early elite stage. Nidoking has a lot of skills, including those for each system, and is equipped with a relatively complete set. In addition, with the blessing of the life orb, facing the two Cunning Tengu, Nidoking was also bombarded and couldn't raise his head. Occasionally, a few counterattacks did not cause much damage to Nidoking. When Mantis and the others were cleaning up the long nose leaf, Nidoking seized the opportunity to freeze the Cunning Tengu in the early elite stage and defeated the Cunning Tengu with a jet of flame, and then fought one-on-one with the Cunning Tengu in the middle elite stage. Mantis, Pidgeot, you two go and help the desert dragonflies first, they are having a hard time. Hassan Mantis nodded and rushed over. Pidgeot flapped his wings and flew over. Mantis was holding a Cunning Tengu in the late elite stage, while Pidgeot was holding a Cunning Tengu in the middle elite stage. The Cunning Tengu that Nangang encountered were quite strong. There were 3 Cunning Tengu in the late elite stage alone, and there were also several Cunning Tengu with elite combat power. They should have come to protect that Cunning Tengu. Fortunately, Nangang strength was not weak, and her Pokémon was also extremely powerful. She didn't use any trump cards, but she was able to fight back, but it seemed a bit hard. After Mantis and Pidgeot joined, the Cunning Tengu were on the verge of collapse. I was passing by at that time, and you attacked me first, so I took action to defeat you. I didn't expect your leader to chase me all the way. It seems that your leader values you very much. Nangang looked at the Cunning Tengu in front of him with cold eyes, and the desert dragonfly was beside him. ZHU, do you think I will be as embarrassed as last time? You can't escape this time. Even if your leader comes, I'm not afraid. Prepare to die. Desert Dragonfly Dragon Breath. The Desert Dragonfly fought with the 2 Cunning Tengu again. The original Cunning Tengu was an elite late stage elf, and the one beside him was also an elite late stage elf. The Cunning Tengu a few days ago couldn't beat the Desert Dragonfly, and now with the help of another Cunning Tengu, the Desert Dragonfly's strength has also increased. It has the upper hand with 1 against 2. Zhang Xingyun looked at the elves such as the long-nosed leaf who were fleeing everywhere. There were too many of them. When they were fighting, some long-nosed leaves would participate in the battle. Some of them fled after seeing Zhang Xingyun defeat the Cunning Tengu. They were probably scared out of their wits. There were too many of them, and Zhang Xingyun couldn't catch them all. After a few attacks, he brought the elves to support Nangang. Not long after, Mantis and Pidgeot each eliminated their opponents. Seeing this scene, several Cunning Tengu who were still capable of fighting found an opportunity and hurriedly fled. Only one of them was stopped by Pidgeot and knocked to the ground. Now Mantis and Nangang Gardevoir and Tanabata Bluebird and other elves all surrounded them. The 2 Cunning Tengu fighting against Desert Dragonfly had nowhere to escape. The 2 Cunning Tengu also knew the situation, so they attacked desperately. Unfortunately, with the participation of several elves of Mantis, the 2 elves were killed on the spot after a while. In this battle, there was almost no respite, and many were killed on the spot, but there were also many injured and unconscious elves. What's wrong with that Cunning Tengu? We have broken through its tribe, why hasn't it appeared yet? Zhang Xingyun was a little surprised. The battle had been going on for a while and the noise was not small. With its strength, the probability of death by accident is extremely low. Maybe it went out. Nangang replied. Forget it. Let's see if there is anything good in my tribe. It can cultivate Qua-seeking level elves, so the resources must not be too scarce. When the 2 were about to sort out the resources, a roar came from a distance, and a fierce figure rushed over at a very fast speed. The figure did not appear, but the sound arrived first. With a loud bang, a big tree was shattered, and the Cunning Tengu with scarlet eyes walked out from the smoke and dust. It was extremely angry. When it went out, the tribe it was guarding was actually destroyed. It was the human it chased a few days ago that killed it, which made it even more furious. Haha, you're the only one with a bad temper? This time it's your turn. Nangang snorted coldly when she saw the Cunning Tengu appear. She was not afraid this time. With a trump card in hand, would she be afraid of it? Did he think that he would become more powerful if he yelled a few times? She, Nangang Yeo, was not afraid. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.